$14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the VIS Challenger Series as we kick off Split 1 of the autumn season. I'm your host, Dragonborn. Joining me today, it is Denominate and Tasty Bacon. Ooh, that is a typo. We do have Denominate filling in for Dalsey, so we'll get that updated here in just a quick second. But Tasty, I mean, this is definitely going to be an exciting season for Vainglory as we start to get ready for Worlds. And this is actually an interesting time period for challengers. A lot has changed. Autumn season's going to look a little differently. Let's talk a little bit about some of the changes that are in store so everyone can get up. Let's talk about the format and what's a little bit different about this season.
Yeah, well, the first thing that's going to be very obvious for anyone who's tuning in is the fact that the challengers this season will not have challenge battles until the end of the season. And for the teams that you may have been having Worlds aspirations, wanting to have that ultimate Cinderella story, unfortunately not going to be possible this season.
Yeah, so, it's kind of a downer, but at the same time, it is a lot to say. You don't just have to get into the top 16s for Vainglory 8 to go to Worlds. You have to be, probably at the way it looks like now, Tasty, you have to be #1 in the Vainglory 8. That's something that's probably was already way too aspirational. But yeah, this is really a little bit of a change in pace. Now it's the end of season, and the teams that are going to be relegated in challenge battles are going to be those bottom teams. They're not going to be going to the championship in the same season. So a lot of changes there. And what it does mean, though, that there is a lot happening here in Challengers where there's a little bit more consistency here. These are the teams that are going to be playing over the entire season, likely, as they look to try to build that case to get that spot. And really, now, more than ever, they're going to be looking to build a case to get into the Vainglory 8 for next year, for that final season. And that's going to be a massively new season. There's a lot of cool news coming probably out in the next couple of months that are going to be, telling us a little bit about what next season or next year is going to look like. So if you're a Vainglory team looking to try to get into the top of the Vainglory 8, now's your chance to finally do it as you get ready for an exciting new season. So there's a lot in store. Let's talk a little bit about the brackets, though, as we are getting into Group A. Now, this is a really exciting group, Tasty. There's a really stacked here with talent. Echo Fox just coming off of Challenger Championship Cup. We have NRG in this round. We've got a lot of exciting teams. Talk to me about some of the other teams that we might want to keep an eye on, or who might be some of the dark horses from Group A.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about all season long last season about how the level of competition has stepped up so massively across both regions of Vainglory 8 for Europe and North America, but that's even trickling down into the challengers. As you mentioned, there's Echo Fox, NRG, Nova Challengers just in Group A. You look at some of the other teams that you may not be as well known of the team names, but have some well-known players. The Kardashians, a fun little team in there, but Drunken Clan, who's been around forever. Stormy Cross has been around on top-level teams for a long time. Vision Gaming, we've talked about multiple times in the past. Infinity Rebirth is another team that always seems to put up a good fight and can be one of those teams that can upset a lot of these top squads.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're kind of looking at. A lot of exciting. So also, we've had teams come through, surprise us in challengers, and then really, get a better seeding. In Group B, we'll see them tomorrow, but Tilted Rehab coming into this tournament in the top 4 after being like a sub-16 seeded team last season. So there's a lot of change, a lot of room for growth here, and I really think it's important for these challenger teams to realize that they have that chance more than ever to make the difference that's needed. So definitely excited to see how this all plays out, and of course excited to get into it. We are going to start talking though about our matchup starting here. This is going to be our next matchup, Echo Fox versus Invictus Spirit. You get first seed versus 32 seed. There's a lot to, there's a lot of pressure here for Invictus to try to make a good showing. They don't even need to win, just try to make a good showing, as they will have another shot in the elimination round.
Yeah, for Echo Fox on the other side, this is, essentially this should be sort of like a warm-up game for them, a tune-up for them, if you will. They are heavily expected to be able to take this series 2-0, and if they have struggles against a 32 seed, like that's a sign of maybe some problems for Echo Fox. So for them, they're going to be looking to come in and just really dominate this series, especially trying to rebound after their unfortunate defeat in the Unified Live Championship in the Challengers Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that was a kind of a disappointing loss. Now, that does kind of pivot me to a point I do need to make. We were planning on announcing the winner of my 30,000 ice giveaway, but you know, we have a 24-hour rule, and we haven't gotten our notification back from the winner yet. We actually did pick a winner, and they have 24 hours to respond. And I didn't maybe think that one through. We should have made sure that we got that response. So likely we will announce the winner tomorrow on tomorrow's stream. And I just wanted to update everybody about that. I was expecting maybe a faster response, but it was a global giveaway. That means we are, you know, giving it away to anybody. I'm personally giving it away to anybody in that plays Vainglory on the entire Earth. So, you know, anybody can win it. So therefore there could be some time zone issues. So I do want to apologize personally for all the fans of me specifically, as that was something I did say I'd try to do, and I of course am going to try to do that as soon as we can. So, but yeah, getting into this matchup, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm always looking, one of the things, Tasty, I like to look for is there the surprise new talent, you know, coming in the wings, right? You really don't know until you see them play if there's someone that's going to surprise us. And a lot of times they get low-seeded. We really don't know. Best Anime Girls from a couple seasons ago was a great example. Low-seeded team that always surprised us. So I'm looking forward to this. As we went down to the 32-team structure here for VIS, Tasty, it seems like definitely the talent has become more condensed, and it's not quite as one-sided on the top of the bracket.
Yeah, it's definitely... Not only has the talent pool been condensed, but the teams that really want to make it into the Vainglory 8, like the players that have this really strong drive and ambition, are getting together and creating these teams that are just stronger than we've seen in the past. And that's why, you said there is still definitely a bit of a bias towards the top half of the bracket, just because you know, those guys have earned those seeds. They're no slouches. So, you know, you still expect the higher seeds to come out on top. But as you mentioned, you know, there's always new players joining the game. And with that, it means there's always new top level players that are joining the game, putting together teams and coming in as an unknown factor and making a name for themselves.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to see it. We are going to take a quick break, everybody, as we are going to be getting ready for our first series here in just a few moments. So don't go anywhere, everybody. We'll be right back after the break.
$14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are here live. Of course, you see Denomine. He is our look at our caster, not Dalsy. I got that update for you guys, and of course, he and Tasty Bacon are going to be jumping into the draft, which is started right now. So, guys, let's jump right into it.
Alrighty, I think we're obviously going to see some of those Catherine Grace bands, Bacon. Those have been pretty popular for several patches now. Obviously, the changes to Echo make both of those heroes incredibly difficult to deal with, but it's actually a Finn that comes out of Fox, maybe trying to force the other team to pick up one of those bands so they can get that other power pick, but it's a Celeste instead.
Yeah, interesting Finn ban, because Finn I haven't really been seeing have too much success of late, so a bit surprising to see that one taken off the board. But as you mentioned, the power picks left open. Catherine will be first picked here, the Scarf and then the Glaive. So at least by banning the Celeste and picking the Scarf, they're preventing Echo Fox from being able to have one of those massive late game crystal carries. But Idris is still available. Like, they can just go for a CP Idris. I'm really surprised Grace wasn't picked up, but obviously with the Catherine already there, maybe they feel like they can save that for their last pick. But there's going to be that Idris coming out there.
Yeah, and Idris has been a absolutely huge hero as well. Obviously very flexible, can run either weapon or crystal. And let me tell you, when you do pick up that crystal Idris, those chakrams can be very, very devastating. And that's what we've seen a lot of, is the weapon jungle and the crystal lane. And Bacon, I think Fox is giving you a cookie here. I think this is going to be some jungle weapon Arden.
It's looking that way, and I will be incredibly excited if that is the case. But looking onto the side of now for Invictus Spirit, they're going to round out their composition with a Lance. It's going to be a difficult game for them just because Idris, I feel like, is the single strongest laner in the game at the moment. He can just be so oppressive and so incredibly difficult to play against. So we'll have to see how Invictus Spirit, the massive underdog, is going to be able to run with this composition.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult. Obviously, Echo Fox, the #1 seed in this tournament, and for good reason. Obviously, they did drop the queso, though, in the Unified Finals in that Regional Cup. So Fox is obviously going to be coming back. They probably got some more practice underneath their belt now, looking to pull out a win here.
Yeah, I talked to the members of Echo Fox after that Challenger Cup, and a lot of them were saying it was the first time ever being on a stage for most of them. I mean, they were definitely, the nerves got to the better of them, and a couple other things that kept them from being able to perform at what they felt was their best. So I feel like they've kind of already gotten past the Challenger Cup. They're ready and looking to retain their #1 spot in the Challengers. As right now, though, they're going to be finding every single member of Invictus. Slada is looking to be first blood, perhaps. As Invictus, are they going to be able to actually chase this one down? Not quite having enough damage. And that will end up being the escape for Arden. However, looks like now they're going to continue to push in all 6 members right around the center of this map. Irwin does get himself that treant, so it looks like things are going to finally settle down. Unfortunately, doesn't look like I'm going to be getting my weapon, Arden.
It doesn't. They dangled that cookie in front of you, Bacon, and they took it away. Unfortunately, everybody does make it out. Slada does get out with his life, so no first blood bounty yet. But I do think this Lance and Glaive and Scarf combination as the game goes on, Fox is definitely going to have to respect the damage that these heroes can put out, especially this Scarf. Once he gets that 3rd or 4th item online, he is going to be devastating. It's going to be all about Irwin making sure that Dragon's Breath does not get a chance to come out on the team.
Yeah, they're going to have 2 forms of stunning. One, obviously, a lot easier to connect with in the Merciless Pursuit. But a lot of this composition for Echo Fox is going to be about protecting Selena. Here comes an Afterburn in, but Christian didn't get the target he was looking for. And now Selena should be able to back away. Nice dodge of the Impale will keep him healthy. And they took T-Blade extremely low on this Scarf, but nice job by the members of Invictus to rotate up and make sure that they didn't give up first blood.
Yeah, and so far we're still sitting at 0 kills, but it's looking like Selena.
Yeah, beautiful Afterburn from Christian. That will be the first blood, finally getting their target. It took 3 attempts from Invictus, but 3rd time's the charm, and first blood goes their way.
And first blood going on to Scarf specifically is absolutely huge. Obviously, Scarf needs to get the gold for those items. He won't level up quite as fast because obviously we've seen Scarf shift his way back into the lane. But the Dragon Blood on Myth 5 was really able to help burst down that target. And Selena does appear to be going the weapon route, so it's even going to be a Crystal Catherine in the jungle.
Yeah, that's typically if you're going to have the Catherine be a carry, it's going to be a more crystal-oriented route. Having the Storm Crown Aftershock type of build. I'm definitely have never been a fan of using this build on a Catherine, but we'll see if they can make it work. Obviously, they going with the weapon Idris is going to be a little bit more assassination focused, just trying to dive onto this Scarf and take him out of the fight before he can really get ramped up.
Yeah, they absolutely will, but man, we've got some good Spitfires coming out of T-Blade here, chunking down the health of Irwin. Not sure they're going to be able to find anything off it, though.
Doing a really good job of chunking down the health, but also making sure to get the pools of goop underneath the minion waves so that he keeps his farm up. Some good damage on Selena. Slade is going to rotate right into the brush. That is not where you want to be. He's going to get focused down heavily. Does have that potion to keep himself topped up, but now Irwin, is he going to be able to escape as well? Also having to use the potion. That's 2 potions getting popped there, and that's one of the big changes in update 2.8 is those health potions, the complete change to the way the early game works. But they are not giving up on these kills, going deep into the jungle as the jungle intensifies, finding one Crystal Sentry. Looks like it's going to chase them out.
Yes, it does. And, that is something that I've been super excited for 2.8 is to see just how these teams run and use that flask. Obviously, it is on a pretty sizable cooldown. It does heal a lot as well as give you that shield, but once you've used it, you do have to be careful. You can't stop at the shop and pick up potions. So it really forces you to play defensively when that is down. And a good root coming through onto Slada, but no follow-up from the team. Tension Bow completed on Glaive, so he's going for a lot of upfront burst, as well as Irwin obviously going for that Aftershock is going to be looking for the same, as well as getting some additional cooldown, which is going to help him get those Merciless Pursuit off. He's going to be able to build up those stacks of Captain of the Guard, and should hopefully be able to take up
so much damage. Afterburn looks like it got blocked, or did he hit the wrong target? I didn't quite see.
Got a minion.
It was on the edge of my screen, so I didn't actually see if it had hit someone or got blocked. But Christian, a couple of times now, has afterburned a minion. Really needs to get a little bit more on point with those because they could have led to kills. However, right now, Selena Gomez rotating up. That's a big blast hammer for Irwin to try and chase them off of this turret. But they need to be careful of a re-engage. That afterburn is not going to hit a minion. That's going to be Selena Gomez going down. And they're still looking to keep this fight going. Blade is a little bit low on energy. So I don't think they can really look for another kill here. But Invictus Spirit, they've got themselves a 3-0 lead.
They absolutely do. And, obviously looking at the Idris is going to have to get a couple items before he's really able to take off. Obviously, with the Sorrow Blade complete, he will have the Divergent Path unlocked. Chakrams will hit pretty hard. If they can get a clean Chakram onto both Scarf and Glaive through both passes, it's really going to be a lot of damage in the fight and could potentially force a Fountain very, very early out of the enemy team. But until Idris gets some sort of defense and sustain, it is going to be very risky as the weapon route because he does have to dive that back line, and Glaive and Lance are going to be there waiting for him every time.
Yeah, and talking about that sustain, that's another one of the things that the Halcyon Potion and Healing Flask changes made is early game sustain has become that much more important, that much more effective, because you can't just stock up on potions and drink those whenever you're low. The Healing Flask has a 2-minute cooldown when you do decide to use it. So having that little bit of extra sustain that Idris is going to have from the lifesteal is actually massive to keeping Selena in this lane. And it's one of the big reasons why you look at the scoreboard and you see a 3-0 kill lead, yet the gold is still in favor of Echo Fox.
Yeah, and that's something that Echo Fox has always really been good at, is their gold management. And obviously, we've also had some changes to a lot of the weapon items. We do have the Spellblade now out in 2.8, as well as we had changes to the Book of Eulogies, the Barbed Needle, the Poison Shiv, the Serpent's Mask. Obviously, all of those get a little lower healing. I mean, it's pretty sizable over the course of several minion kills, but definitely still going to be very useful for keeping Idris alive here in the lane, as obviously the impales coming through from Lance, the Spitfires constantly coming out of Scarf are definitely a huge threat, because Idris, like you mentioned earlier, is an assassin. He does have a fairly low health pool. He does have some mobility to help him make up for that, but those Spitfires, one or two of them hit, and Idris is going to be forced out of the fight.
And so that's going to be a big focus point, is this Scarf. Will these Spitfires connect? Will the Goops be put underneath the right targets? Because if not, well, Selena's going to be able to run wild. But for now, he's going to get jumped on in. Nice afterburn that time. Did start off this fight. The Spitfires trying to connect onto both Selena and Irwin, getting them both low. Selena needs to be careful, has to use the ultimate. Another afterburn knocks him underneath the turret and right into T-Blade, who picks up another kill for himself. Irwin still trying to make a play happen here. T-Blade, though, going to be moving on up with the Scarf. Even though Christian is low, they still can put pressure onto this turret. If they can just try and connect a little bit. Nice body blocking by Echo Fox to minimize the damage that can be done. And now they're going to be looking to chase out a bit. You need to be careful. That Storm Guard is just going to do so much work. And they find a kill back onto Christian. The first kill of the game for Echo Fox, coming almost 9 minutes in.
Yeah, and the Aftershock proc from Catherine is definitely something you have to take into consideration here. Glaive's high health pool does mean that the actual gold value you get out of that proc is higher in this particular case. Now, the Poison Shiv is complete for Selena Gomez. It is going to give some sustain. Oh.
Okay, they get the kill. That was a little bit too aggressive from Myth 5, trying to keep these minions away from the turret. I think maybe not really respecting the damage that can come out of this weapon. Idris, Selena going for the Poison Shiv into the Sorrow Blade is going to be able to have a lot of flat burst damage when he jumps in, especially using the A. It gives you your next basic attack does so much extra damage with this build, so that you just get that surprise, that burst when you jump in. Not only does it provide yourself a barrier, but you get that big chunk of damage that can catch opponents off guard and find you some kills in situations like that.
Yeah, and Slade is doing really good right now, body blocking these Spitfires. They find some damage onto Glaive, but Glaive and Lance are just particularly good into Idris, and that's really going to be the key here, is if they can keep Scarf alive, then they have so many more chances here in this game. But this fight's breaking out. Selena going in.
Yeah, Selena's going to ult on through, trying to get onto the Scarf, but isn't able to secure the kill. Myth with a nice Giftian wall for a double stun, but Blade needs to be careful. T-Blade trying to just keep the damage going from the backline. Selena wants some, tries to jump in, doesn't find his target, so he has to back out again. Christian looks like he's waiting for the afterburn. Does afterburn Selena, but Selena is actually going to be A-okay off of that one, because the Goop was underneath the other two members of the team, and now they found their kill. They can look for more, perhaps, so they have to be careful. No actives left on the side of Echo Fox, and with the massive wave clear that Scarf has, they can't really stick around.
They can't, and unfortunately they weren't able to get some damage on the turret, so overall I would say that B-side is a little bit ahead here, but at this gold miner...
B-side, Echo Fox, gonna be trying to turn that around, saying, you know what, we're gonna find a kill, we're gonna take this gold miner. They get the immense gold payout, 400 gold now, and Selena chasing on the Scarf. Myth 5 coming through at the last second. Even though he didn't hit the impale, it was enough to keep the Scarf alive. It's going to be a little bit of the jungle taken away. Selena still wanting to be aggressive, but does decide to back off. And the gold miner changes. Another big change to update 2.8 that we haven't really been able to talk about much.
Yeah, that it fills up a little bit quicker, and it fills up bigger. Obviously, that 400 gold payout definitely can be game-changing. It has given Selena enough gold, actually, to complete the detention bow. And Selena's done a really good job in these past couple fights, is when Glaive is out of the picture, that's when he's laying the aggression on. If he goes too aggressive too soon, that's when Glaive will afterburn in. They'll be able to find a lot of damage. But man, Scarf, just like that, gets deleted.
And that's the danger of playing the Scarf around an Idris. If he jumps onto you, he can take you down in a hurry. Now it's going to be Christian trying to come up, looking for a stun. They get a lot of damage onto Selena after the Githian wall, but not enough for a kill. And instead, Echo Fox should be able to turn their attention towards this turret and take that down without any issue. Irwin still trying to get a couple of stacks on that passive. It has a fair number of them. 23 at 12.5 minutes when not playing in the captain role is pretty impressive stuff. You want to normally you look to have 2 per minute. When you're a captain, Catherine, you're hanging out in the lane and having the opportunity to just use Merciless Pursuit at will onto the opposing laner. But to do the same level of stacking out of the jungle is showing that Irwin's definitely being proactive and trying to be aggressive with the rest of the team.
Yeah, I was looking really good for the Scarf there for a little bit, but then a good clean fight coming out of Echo Fox was able to clean it up. They were able to get the turret, and now that lead that wasn't looking too convincing, all of a sudden, we're 5,000 gold in advantage, and here we go, Bacon.
Oh, big gauntlet going down, keeping everyone inside. That's going to be T-Blade dropping immediately. Myth 5 is going down low as well, uses the fountain to keep him and his ally alive, but looks like Echo Fox wants to continue chasing. Not much energy on Irwin, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful. Looks like they've decided to go for the sentry instead. Choosing your targets wisely, deciding, it's very dangerous to go for the fight. Let's take an objective instead.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good choice, especially taking anything away from the Scarf at this point is really the key. Scarf is sitting on 3 items, but there's no broken myth, and that's really where Scarf gets the most dangerous. And now Glaive! I don't even know what that call was, but it was a little too aggressive going for a gold mine for sure.
I think that's what we can call that is a mistake. I mean, I guess trying to steal the gold mine was the original idea there, but went way too aggressive in that play, and unfortunately it pays the price for it. So now Echo Fox, they were down 3-0 at one point in the kills, but they always kept a small gold lead. That small gold lead has now ballooned into a large gold lead, looking at about 7,000 gold in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely has. And Glaive's real benefit to try to steal a gold mine looking forward in this, going into game 2 at least. You want to come in with the Twisted Stroke, try to steal and save that afterburn for your escape. That's really one of the biggest utilities Glaive has, so not using it effectively can definitely put you in a bit of hurt. Scarf is down, so Echo Fox could look to push some damage on this turret here. Glaive is healthy, but so is all of Echo Fox.
Yes, Lena really starting to throw his weight around, finds another turret, and now Christian may be on the wrong side of things, has to use the afterburn defensively. Will it be enough? Because Selena wants blood. Gauntlet goes down, does get blocked, but not going to be enough. And oh my goodness, just like that, the timing of the engage as Scarf came back up, it is an ace for Echo Fox, and they are just running rampant now.
Yeah, this should pretty much be a free win going over to an easy win going over to Fox here if they bounce the aggro correctly on these turrets, get the turrets down at the same time. They should have the damage to clean up this game. I'm pretty impressed with Irwin's Catherine here, but Glaive's coming in.
Yeah, Glaive and Scarf going to try and do what they can to stop this, but Selena is not even caring about the fight. He's just looking to end the game. They get the crystal turret down, and that will be Echo Fox taking game number 1. It looked really good for their opponents at the early game, and Invictus Spirit was able to find a couple of fights and get a couple of kills, but once this Idris came online, it was game over, and Echo Fox taking the first game of the series.
Yeah, definitely really well played out of Invictus, though. I think they're a team that has some potential. Obviously, this is a double elimination tournament, so even if they do drop to Fox here, who, again, is that number 1 seed, they will have an opportunity to come back through, and I think they actually played really well. Just again, obviously Fox is the team that did drop down from the Vainglory 8. They're looking to get that spot back. So going to be very, very interesting going forward. And, Invictus Spirit, keep that spirit high. You guys played really well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was not a bad showing from them early on. Love the aggression. They didn't look like a 32 team playing into a first seeded team for a good chunk of that first 5 minutes. It looked pretty even, actually. Maybe Echo Fox, the draft was a little interesting, and also they played so passive. I get with that composition, they really didn't have the ability to be aggressive, but that was, a risk that they took, and I'm really surprised, kind of disappointed actually, that, Echo Fox, maybe didn't respect this team as much early on in that game, and they almost had to worry about for a few minutes there being on the ropes as they went down 3-0. That Invictus might actually give them a run for their money. But Idris, there's a lot going for them in that, specifically all of the support that the Catherine and Arden provided made it really easy to peel. The Idris, once he was able to finally get his items online, was hard to lock down and did so much damage.
Yeah, we know what a huge threat that silence can be when it comes through and hits your whole enemy team, but we also got to make sure when you do have a Lance into an Idris, you got to make sure that you're saving that Githian wall effectively. Once Idris uses his gap closers in, that's when you want to push him back, stun him up, root him, whatever you need to do, and that's going to allow your team a lot more safety on the back line, specifically the Scarf.
No, absolutely. And the Scarf, didn't have the strong backline. Lance did pretty all right. I mean, that was only really they had opportunity to try to deal with the peel. And honestly, the Lance play coming out of Myth 5 was pretty good for the early part of that game. Just unfortunately unable to deal with the Idris once his ultimates came online, once he was able to just penetrate through the fight. And the Catherine and Arden, I think, just really did a good job. Slada and Irwin, you could see that synergy starting to meld there, even with an Arden Catherine jungle comp, which is pretty unique to say the least. So
absolutely can be. As we should be getting ready to get into draft number 2 here in just a minute, it will be interesting to see how the draft changes here. Obviously, the jungle Catherine was quite a massive off-meta pick, something that we haven't seen in quite a long time. It does look like we have a update for you guys for the off-stream games. It is Nova Challengers did take down Team Classified. That must have been
one of the
a
early
2-0.
Yeah, it does look like it. Well, we're going to be getting into game number 2 here, everybody. So let's buckle up and get right into the action as we jump into the draft here. Looking to see what we're going to start. Invictus Spirit on A side now. They have the opportunity to try to take something important off the board, and Finn it is. So this is the second time we've seen Finn banned first. Interesting development here in 2.8.
Yeah, it definitely has been. I'm not too sure about it. I think Finn there are definitely counter picks that deal with him pretty easily. It is going to be the Catherine ban coming out of Fox, though, to respond. So that Grace is now on the table, but we did see Invictus actually pass that pick up in the last game. So I think it's a risky thing to let through to Fox. Obviously, Slada is quite mechanically skilled. They do take the Idris.
Take that Idris off the board. Definitely a strong weapon laner. Could be CP as well. It's a flex pick for a lane as far as itemization. Keeps your jungles and your roam kind of open as we go into the later part of the draft.
It's also just a solid pick because, as I mentioned in game number 1, a lot of players heavily regard Idris as just the strongest laner in the game right now. And if there's no Catherine, that's one of the hardest counters to an Idris. So with Catherine off the board, it's a great first pick. Lance and Vox going to be the selection. Vox is often seen as the hero to take into an Idris, because it's kind of a more even matchup and can go either way. So Echo Fox clearly feeling like their laner Selena will be able to outdeal the Idris.
Yeah, I do like Selena Gomez on the Vox as well. It is a comfort pick for him, as you were saying, and it's something that he could just do so much damage. Takes a little bit of time to get on and come online with that damage, and with some of the nerfs to the overall heal, it takes a little bit longer before he builds out maybe a poison shiv, for instance. Now, we don't see the same amount of heal, potentially. It's going to be an Arden on the side of Invictus. But typically, Voxes still are building that Poison Shiv. And we saw him build it on Idris. So I'd be surprised if Selena Gomez deviates from that.
All right, and there's a Batiste for the final pick. A little bit surprised that both of these teams have put no emphasis on the Lyra or the Grace. There were tweaks and changes to both of their kits, but I still feel like having that extra healing, especially with the Halcyon Potion removal and the way that the healing flasks work, having that extra healing, I think, is just so incredibly useful. So a little bit surprising to me to see neither of these teams opt for either of those healers, but we have our compositions for game number 2.
We do indeed, so we're going to be kicking it into the fold for Tasty Bacon Denominator to get us into all the action. Guys, take us away.
All right. Well, Denominate, game number 2, going to be Echo Fox looking to close this one out quickly and cleanly with the Idris, though, on the side of Invictus. Perhaps that could turn things into their favor. Looks like it will be a weapon Idris, as the Blackfeather is starting off with 2 crystal bits in the inventory. So a CP Blackfeather alongside a weapon Idris.
Yeah, and this actually can be a really devastating combination just because of the amount of poke that both of these heroes will offer. Specifically, once Blackfeather gets a Shatterglass online, those on points, as well as getting to level 8 with that increased range is definitely huge for him as well. But, like you mentioned, I'm actually surprised at the lack of Grace and Lyra pickups here. There weren't huge changes to Grace. Lyra definitely got some timing changes, but man, Myth might have gone in a little too far here, Bacon.
Yeah, gonna get stunned up due to the Ordained, and will be going down. Does pop his healing flask to try and stay alive a little bit longer, but Selena is gonna be fine to just take him out. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, oh, never mind, Selena doesn't get it as Blade comes down far enough for Myth to be able to use the Vanguard to get out of his trouble. But now Christian going to be ordained up, and he will be the first blood instead. Great job by Echo Fox to split up their focus enough. They felt like Selena was going to have enough damage to take down Myth, and so they kept the other 2 on the target on Christian, so that even if Myth gets away, they're still able to find a kill, but the ideal situation would have been to find both of them. Now they're looking for some jungle stealing. They're going to get a little bit here. Another Ordained and a big impale onto Christian. Irwin is going to fall, but now Slada can just clean up with a double kill.
And just like that, that first game we saw Fox drop 3-0 or 0-3 very quickly. And this game is quite the opposite, Bacon. We actually have them up 3-1 already. 1.4k gold lead, almost 1.5k. And Irwin already stacking up that crystal power, has the heavy prism available, will give him those big bursts of damage as he has his Reap perk procced. Getting that bonus damage is absolutely essential for how you play a Baptiste. But now the Blackfeather is rotating up the backside. Bacon.
Oh, nice movement from Christian. Will it be enough? No, doesn't actually have the damage to find the kill, especially with Selena just activating that healing flask. I'm going to restore a good amount of his health. Slada trying to keep those members of the opposition in place, allowing Selena to get a little bit more damage, and also buying time for Irwin to rotate up. Almost hit that bad mojo. The Ordained will do it. And just like that, Echo Fox up 4-1 here in the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and this Baptiste is getting closer and closer to that Shatterglass, sitting almost 1,100 gold in his pocket here. So only a couple hundred gold to go. As he does appear, he's getting this whole half rotation pretty easily. So that's going to extend his lead a little bit. Level 5, 1 level to go until that Fearsome Shade is online. Meanwhile, Blackfeather sitting all the way down at level 3. Bacon, really, this is going to be difficult for Blackfeather to make a comeback against a Baptiste, because Blackfeather does kind of, even as Crystal Power, he does have to commit to that front line. And getting this far behind early is, I would say Crystal Blackfeather is probably one of the hardest heroes to play from behind and make a comeback on. So unfortunately, it's not looking good.
Just constantly getting pressured like Echo Fox is doing, finding another kill, and Ordained onto Myths. That's going to stun him up. And actually not quite finding the kill just yet. Selena actually ducked down a little bit, got a little low thanks to the rotation from T-Blade. And so either way, they're going to be stealing away this jungle. Selena taking the Treant, but you talk about the difference, and look at the CS difference between Christian and Irwin as they find the kill, rotating up into the lane on T-Blade. Having 31 to the 15, that's doubling up the CS that Christian's been able to get, not to mention the 1 kill and 3 assists in favor of Irwin as well. Just a really big lead. They nearly take down this turret. Christian going to try and force them away, but not going to be able to do so in time. Slada will stick around, throw down an impale just to make sure the turret falls. And they find a kill as Christian was doing everything he could to try and prevent that turret from falling, and then try and answer with a kill, but just doesn't have the damage yet.
Yeah, you're not going to quite find it with only a couple crystal bits on a Blackfeather. Unfortunately, we do still obviously have that execute damage on the Faint of Heart. It just wasn't enough, and then a good double impale coming out of Slata locked them up just long enough for Selena to lock in another kill. And now Irwin, level 7, has that Fearsome Shade still in his pocket as he is approaching. Oh, he just hit level 7. Blackfeather doesn't have his Rose offensive yet, so he actually can't even get out of the Ordain. So I think realistically, get the Ordain down on the Blackfeather, and then it's going to be really easy for you to punish him without him being able to use that ultimate to get out of harm's way. So Fox definitely has a distinct advantage here.
Well, look at how efficient Irwin has been. He's level 7, and up until just now when Selena hit 6, no one else was over level 5. He had a 2-level lead on the entire map, friend or foe, and that is just a huge lead to give up Batiste. That's going to be the Fearsome Shade coming out and securing the first kill of this fight. T-Blade trying to clear out this minion wave, but just can't really commit to anything. He's also going down the crystal route. It's another talking point for after this fight cleans up, because that's going to be another turret going the way of Echo Fox. 6.5 minutes in, and they've gotten themselves 2 turrets, and they're going to clean up this jungle once again as well.
Yeah, and you're just touching on a little bit there that they are going that double crystal route. Oh, did Irwin get both of those? Oh no, that is not good.
The Crystal Sentry doing a lot of work to Slata, but not going to be enough. It actually recalls. Selena wants to re-engage. That's 1v3. He's going in with the Impale onto the Blackfeather, and Irwin from the backside will be able to provide a little bit more help. They get another kill. Myths is going to try and run, but there's nowhere for him to go. That is impressive indeed as the Gold Miner gets started up here by Echo Fox, and they are just running away with this one.
They absolutely are. Literally nothing besides an ace could have gone better for Fox there. A beautiful bad mojo coming out of Irwin, even cleaned up the backs, and then they were able to get a double kill off the back of that as well. And somehow Slata, on a sliver of health, does make it out and is now very healthy. Will they find Selena, though?
Yeah, they're definitely looking for it, trying to get a kill. That's going to be a big shutdown for Invictus. As now, can they find any more? They have to be careful. Here comes Irwin, and he is a monster, finding 1 kill quickly. Fearsome Shade going to fear up both. That's going to be a nice ultimate from T-Blade, but just not going to be enough. The huge damage from the empowered bad mojos. It's an ace for Echo Fox, and they are running rampant with a 7,000 gold lead at 8 minutes in this game.
Yeah, 7,000 gold lead, 8 minutes in, up 11 kills. And Irwin on this Batiste has been absolutely insane. The amount of lockdown between him and Slata is absolutely huge. And one thing that's actually happened in the past couple of fights is Selena, when he throws that wait for it out, Slata's right there ready to go with the Githian wall. And here we go. We got another fight breaking out.
Yeah, Echo Fox just trying to force the issue now. Christian going to get taken down very low and just blown up by this Batiste. Impaled, nicely dodged there by Myths. I believe it actually did hit him. He had the root, but he got a good distance, so he couldn't be followed up on immediately. T-Blade going to get stunned up underneath the turret. Irwin and Selena Gomez just focusing on this turret. They don't even have minions here, and they don't seem to care. Irwin's going to get stunned up by the gauntlet, but they're just trying to pull the members away from this turret so that they can look for this fight. Huge bad mojo. 736 damage this early in the game. There's just nothing you can do against that.
Yeah, with just a Shattered Glass and a Clockwork, that is definitely something that you have to be worried about. The level 9 infusion is there. But the key is managing those soul shards, the soul fragments, making sure that you get that bonus damage. That's what makes Batiste such a huge threat. If you're playing in his face when he has that perk activated, it is not going to be pretty for you. And, this double crystal route, I can see it working if you're winning the early fights. But, it's going to be a matter of, once Irwin and Selena get some crystal power, they're going to reduce a lot of incoming damage. And wow, T-Blade, where did you go?
And T-Blade took the quick train back to the fountain. And that's going to be Echo Fox now putting pressure on the base. They've already gotten through the choke point turret. Myths is just going to delete. That's probably even quicker than T-Blade was Christian getting deleted there in an instant. And Echo Fox, sub 15 minutes. How about sub 11 minutes? They're looking to end this game at the 10.5-minute mark. They are already through the final turret. They're going to get a couple more kills for good measure, but this is just Echo Fox absolutely strutting their stuff and showcasing why they are the reigning #1 team in challengers, why they are the #1 seed. Sub 11 minutes, 21 kills, and a 12,000 gold lead. This is one of the most dominant performances I have seen in a long time.
Yeah, it definitely was looking good for Fox. You got to take into account this was a 1 seed versus a 32 seed. However, I think Invictus did look really good. I think they have a lot looking forward for them, either through the losers bracket today or, continue to practice together through that offseason, get ready for spring, come back with, maybe change little things up. Obviously, we'll probably have a little bit of a meta shift by then. It's quite some time away still. But this is going to be a team for me to watch going through the losers bracket here. Obviously, the double elimination tournament does give them a second lifeline. And, it's going to be fun, Bacon.
And at the same time for Echo Fox, I mentioned at the top that they were going to be wanting to really dominate these games. Because if they struggled in these, it could be a sign of some issues. But there was no struggle whatsoever, especially in game number 2. And that's what you want to see if you're an Echo Fox fan. You want to see them being able to run through these early rounds without any sort of sweat.
Yeah, and we'll be heading back over with Dragonborn now to try to get the other teams in here and get ready to go, as well as obviously he'll let us know what matchup we're going to be doing next. So stick around, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Denomine. We are ready to get into this next one in a few moments, but we'll be taking a quick break before then. So that was, as you guys witnessed, that was, first game of autumn season here for North America in the competitive seed. And Echo Fox, you're not really surprised. They played as they should have played, coming in here and dominating against a lower-seeded team. The action really starts as we get into the next round, though, guys, and we will be getting in there tonight. But first, we have one more game from round 1, and that is going to be NRG coming to the table for an exciting matchup. We'll be getting into all that and more after this quick break. We'll see you guys in a few.
$14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm your host Dragonborn, and we are getting into our second series of the night. This is live at the kickoff of the autumn season here, VIS Challengers, and this one could be a little bit closer. Denominate, this is going to be NRG versus Team Insulin, a team a little bit higher up from the 32 seed, sitting there at I believe 29, or is it 20? No, 28 seed, but definitely a team looking to come in here and make a splash. NRG though, on the other hand, a whole new roster, some familiar faces, but definitely some notable changes as we look at this team.
Yeah, definitely got some changes, and NRG didn't make it very far last time around for VIS, but this time they've obviously picked up Miko from Tribe and have picked up Archaic actually from the Hollywood Hammers, so definitely looking to come through with a little bit of a new look here, maybe find a little bit more success this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you had to pick a player to watch from NRG or from Insulin, what would be one player that you'd want to keep an eye on, that we should keep an eye on going into this series?
I think Mixie gets a lot of spotlights a lot of times because he really can be that playmaker, but I think I want to give this one over to Archaic. He's had some really good performances in the past, most notably when he gets that Kashka. He is a very, very aggressive play style and just can be an absolutely devastating addition to any lineup, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely a player I think we should keep an eye on. I mean, he, coming off of Hammers, he had an incredible second split, really was able to help take that team to the next level. And it just seemed like, Live Championship wasn't something he was able to show up at and make a big impact, but definitely a lot to be said about his performance in the Vainglory at the highest tier. And it really could do a huge difference in helping NRG make a massive push here in this split one. We're going to be getting into the draft, though, everybody. So let's get right into it. Day and I, and of course, Tasty as well, jumping into game number one.
All right, the Catherine ban is going to come off quickly from NRG here. We haven't seen a lot of priority yet put on the Grace, so it's going to be interesting to see what we do get the second ban here. Obviously, in these first couple of rounds of this, it will be the single ban format, so really got to focus what you want that one ban to be, because you don't get another one when the time comes. It's going to be a Finn.
Well, that's 3 for 3.
Yeah, there must be. I'll have to hit up these players and figure out.
It's probably the echo change. It's got to be the echo change.
I still feel like Finn isn't a strong enough captain to warrant all these bans, especially when Grace is an option, Lyra is an option. Like both of those, Idris, I think all three of those would be better bans than a Finn. I don't feel like that's something you need to take off the board, but we'll wait and see. It is going to be the Grace first pick for NRG. That's going to be our first Grace today, as neither team in our first series really had much interest in focusing on either of those healers either.
Yeah, and picking up the Glaive, this is definitely a game-changing hero. Those afterburns paired up with the just sheer amount of burst damage that Glaive can do, as well as the high health pool. It's definitely a good hero for any lineup. And when paired with the Lance, that is a lot of crowd control you do have to be worried about. So it'd be interesting to see what NRG picks up here. Obviously, Miko known time and time again for his Vox. That still being on the table is huge. And Archaic has actually had some good performances on the Jungle Celeste, but we have seen a shift of those Crystal Laners returning. So, could go either way here.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options still available. We'll see. Obviously, with the Celeste, it's been trending towards the lane, but could still go back into the jungle. And this last pick is going to time out. So
NRG with the dodge. Lose Elo.
We'll try and get this sorted out for you guys as quickly as we can. Hopefully, we'll be able to just get right back into this one.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. It will be a quick restart. Everyone's going to just pick exactly what they just picked, so there will be no major changes there. And we should be able to jump back into this game in just a few seconds here as the last pick takes place. This is in-game. This is 2.8, live on 2.8. There's no client handling the draft, so any bugs that might happen in the game could impact that final pick from happening. So give the players a few seconds to get in. It looks like
Baron.
Yeah, looks like that final pick.
So we haven't really seen Baron with a whole lot of success lately, Bacon. I think Gatsby did pull Baron out and was looking pretty good, actually, on him still. Obviously, a 10% change to his weapon damage. But definitely, if you do get into that fourth item, can be absolutely devastating hero. But Baptiste is going to round it out. And I think this works pretty well with Glaive and the Lance, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of lockdown available to them. So it's going into a Baron. You obviously, with the jump jets, can avoid a bit of the crowd control, but is still going to be very vulnerable. Both Baron and Celeste will have to be very wary of their positioning in these fights as we get underway for game number 1.
Yeah, I'm getting in here, Bacon. It is going to be Archaic on that jungle. Celeste will have a pretty substantial clear speed, as well as we'll get to level 8 a bit sooner than being in the lane. And that's really... Celeste doesn't have the biggest spike off of items. Now, obviously, any hero does get some form of spike off items, but level 8 is where Celeste just absolutely changes. Getting those overdriven heliogenesis, so important for her usefulness in the fights. And that is the one huge advantage NRG has here, is that just sheer range advantage that they're going to have over a Glaive and a Baptiste.
So, with the early game pressure that can come out from the Baptiste-Lance combo, I'd expect to see them try and make some plays early on. But for now, looks like they're content to just solo farm or clear the jungle quickly and then try and make the move in the lane. Mixi going to get afterburned into the Ordained, and that's very likely to be first blood. The healing flask is used, but it doesn't make a difference.
Baron is so slow. And obviously, a good afterburn coming out of Evolutions was able to cancel out that jump jets coming out of Miko there. Obviously, without the overdrive, it does not block the crowd control. But now it's Archaic in the jungle looking for Jared.
And he's going to be able to find him with the help of Bradley, who actually gets the kill. And now it looks like NRG want to try and make some aggressive moves. Want to see if they can steal away some jungle camps. But nope, they think better of it and do recall just in time before the rotation from Evolutions would have come down to find them.
Yeah, it's a one-for-one trade so far here, as obviously we did have Mixi drop in the lane and Jared drop in the jungle, but it is going to be first blood going over to Team Insolence here. So a little bit of a silver lining there. They are going to take the better of those 2 kills, but the gold is dead even right now, and they are looking to come back up in the lane and try to find Mixi again.
Yeah, wanting to just rinse and repeat, but Mixi playing a little bit further back this time around isn't going to be in a vulnerable spot. They're still going to be committed to this, maybe looking for a chance for Evolutions to get that afterburn, but nope, not going to be able to come through. So instead, just a lot of time that's kind of being wasted. But Bradley face checks the brush. Not sure if he meant to throw that flare where he did. That's going to be a nice afterburn onto Mixi now. And it looks like they're getting so close to finding the kill. But Mixi narrowly getting himself out of harm's way. Very, very close to being a couple of kills going the way of... I just completely blanked on their name.
Team Insolence.
Insolence. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, very close to them finding a couple of kills there off of that skirmish.
Yeah, and they really should be winning these fights early. Obviously, the Glaive, the Lance, and the Baptiste, very early and mid-game heroes, as opposed to Celeste and Baron are going to take some time. Oh, Mixi!
Evolution without any follow-up isn't going to be able to find that kill. But, oh, nice impale coming out from the Lance. Can Jared get in close enough for a kill? Misses with the bad mojo. And that's going to allow Mixi and Bradley to both get out safely. Again, so close to finding those kills, but just not quite able to make the damage connect.
Yeah, they weren't able to find a kill there, but that is going to force Mixi out of the lane. He is going to miss out on some more CS, and that is absolutely huge. Again, Baron has to get to the late game if you want him to have any kind of substantial effect. And, we're now 4 minutes in. Mixi is about 700 gold, 600 gold shy of that Sorrow Blade, which even with the changes that Baron had is not a huge spike for him. and he's going to have to get that ultimate online for that increased attack range before he's really going to have any kind of safety in these fights.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of times the 2-item power spikes for most heroes. Baron is one of those heroes that requires a 3-item power spike to really have the kind of impact that you want in a game. So Mixi obviously is one of the stronger Baron players. And when Baron was in his prime during the previous season or two, Mixi was able to play it exceptionally well. So definitely a bit of a comfort pick for him. He understands the hero. He knows that he needs to get those items on board. And so I would not be surprised to see NRG try and funnel a little bit more gold onto him as this game continues on.
Yeah, it did look like he did split some ambient gold with Archaic there in the back, so definitely helping him get towards those items. And, Baron, with the slight change to the basic attack damage that he has, does really need that 3rd item going into a 4th item before he's really able to be a huge, devastating threat. But obviously Celeste and Baron both being able to outrange Baptiste is absolutely huge for what NRG has going for them, as well as Bradley likely going to grab that Echo, going to get that double Divine Intervention, will offer Mixi some additional health as well as incoming damage reduction. And those are going to be key things to get NRG through this game without getting snowballed too early.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be crucial because late game is where this team composition comes online. Late game is where they can really start to try and find the pressure. But until then, it's just about surviving, about not giving opportunities over to your opponents, and they've done a really good job of that. You look at the scoreboard, kills are tied, but it's a gold lead for NRG. And if you're a late game focused team and you are not behind in the early game, if you're even, let alone having a lead for yourselves, that is a great position to be in. Bradley, though, is going to get rooted and stunned and very close to falling, but a big core collapse will keep him alive along with the fountain. Now, all of a sudden, it's going to be NRG looking to try and turn this. Bearhound had to use his fountain as well. And then once more, so close to getting themselves the kills, but just not quite being able to finish it off. They're going to be looking for damage onto this turret. NRG, Bradley taken very low. Another stun onto him. He's going to be getting saved once again, but finally does drop just before the Divine Intervention heal came out. And so Insulin does find another kill, but their turret is extremely low now.
Yeah, it was only one more basic attack out of Mixi actually would have been able to find the turret. Mixi! The turret! It was wide open! You gotta sometimes sacrifice the damage on the enemy heroes, get that turret down. That is a huge chunk of gold for your entire team, as well as objective advantage.
There it is.
They finally find it about 2 minutes later than they could have had it, but they do get it. And, if he would have got it a little bit sooner, Archaic would have had some additional gold to shop with, as he was in a position to do so. And now Mixi and Archaic are going to rotate through the backs. And you mentioned this earlier, this is a smart rotation out of them to make sure Mixi does get online, and that's why the gold is so important for this team at this point in the game. And now with that first turret down, it is going to make it a little bit more difficult for Evolutions to safely farm, and he has gone for the poison shiv first, so not really that upfront damage that we know Glaive to have, going for a little bit more sustain, and I think that might put them behind in these fights a little bit sooner than if we would have seen a Sorrow Blade or a Tension Bow come out.
Yeah, and this feels like a forced item buy for Evolutions. He's going to be having to afterburn out to safety, but knowing that they're up against the Grace, they really want to try and reduce the healing, so just kind of almost feeling obligated to get the Poison Shiv. It's not really a great item for Glaive. It doesn't really synergize that well with what he's trying to do. It will take a long time. He has a pretty slow attack speed, a pretty slow attack animation. So having to get 3 attacks off, obviously when you use your Blood Song, you can do a little bit more. But it still takes a while to really get those mortal wounds built up when you are a Glaive. This is going to be a gold mine actually stolen by Bearhound. Excellent job with the Lance to be able to secure that. That's why taking those gold miners when your entire opponent's team is up, it can be risky. There's not really any great way to guarantee or secure yourself a gold miner or any objective. So it kind of almost becomes a 50-50 shot, and Bearhound takes advantage.
Yeah, he does. That's absolutely huge for their team because, again, getting Baron gold is absolutely the opposite of what you want to let happen. So keeping that 400 gold for each of the members of his own team, absolutely a huge save for them there. Mixie does have his tension bone now online, so he will pack a little bit of a punch, but it's not going to be anything overwhelming yet. But Archaic has hit level 8. He has those overdriven heliogenesis. He has an additional range, which is going to make it so much easier for him to zone out and poke out turrets when necessary.
And that's what they're going to be looking to do here. Siege up against this team. They don't have the greatest wave clear. That's going to be Mixie jumping out of the Ordained, and a beautiful core collapse from Archaic will keep the opponents away. They do still find the kill onto Bradley. Can they find any more, though? They used pretty much everything they had just to get that one kill. And one kill looks like it's all they will take off this still. Got to be happy to get that one. Now, actually, Jared, he's going to get caught up by a core collapse. Nice afterburn by Evolution. Trying to take down Mixie. They will trade 1-for-1. Now Archaic going to get rooted. Bearhound is making plays. Jared chasing this one through with the bad mojo. Bearhound will actually finish it off. Bearhound has been making some incredible plays with this Lance.
Yeah, he absolutely has. That Impale locking Archaic just in range for that last bad mojo, and then the Githian wall to finish him off was definitely great out of this Lance. We've definitely seen a little bit of a resurgence out of him. And one key thing that happened in that last fight is Bradley had a beautiful double Divine Intervention stun lined up onto Evolutions and Bearhound, but a Afterburn and Githian wall from the B side here was able to block that, and they were able to follow up on some additional damage, and in turn, they ended up winning the fight. And Mixie, not quite able to clean up all that he wanted to, is now approaching that Tyrant's monocle, and that's where Baron is really going to start to be a devastating hero in these next lineups, especially if people are standing too close and that splash damage is able to go through.
Yeah, Jared not really going to be having any armor. Still no armor built for Evolutions either. So once those crits start coming through, Mixie can just melt through opponents. Evolutions did go for the Tension Bow and Sorrow Blade, so is rounding out that the mortal wounds with that heavy burst that you really like to see on a glaive. Jared tries to steal away the Treant, but Archaic successfully grabs that for himself. And with this 5-2 kill lead, even though they are still behind in gold, thanks to that turret going down earlier, it's still a game that Insolence can find opportunities. If they can just rotate smart, they can actually look for one here. Gold Miner being started up by NRG. Mixie's going to be looking for things, but he gets rooted up. Big damage. Ordained is going to be obviously jumped through, but now a big Solar Storm goes through. They find one kill. Bearhound can't keep them alive any longer, and it's the retreat. Oh no, Bearhound doesn't get over the wall. He's still going to be able to survive because it looks like Mixie is more interested in getting the Gold Miner. So Bearhound not going to pay for missing the Impale over the wall. Is going to pay now, though, as they do chase him down, but that could have been a much quicker and a much more devastating fight for the side of Insolence.
It absolutely could have, and Archaic did a good job chasing down Bearhound, making sure that he couldn't interfere with that gold mine. But unfortunately, Bearhound was doing a great job dodging out the heliogenesis, wasted a lot of Archaic's time in doing so. And one interaction that happened there that I might actually want to go back and look at after this game is over, it looked like Mixie jumped in with the jump jets, and the Githian wall pushing him back might have been just enough time that the double attack did not come through on Baron. So that is something I'm going to go back and take a peek at here. But overall, Team Insolence is really holding their own in these fights.
Yeah, well, right now they're going to be in trouble. Jared getting caught out a bit. Nice fearsome shade will keep the opponents at bay. Here comes Evolutions over the wall. Doesn't quite get the kill onto Mixie, though, and that could be trouble, as now they are trying to get the kills onto Archaic or Mixie, but Bradley, he picked up the Echo off the tail end of that last fight and needed to use it there in order to keep his teammates alive. These fights are a lot closer than I think NRG was going to be banking on.
Definitely a lot closer than they were hoping for. That monocle is complete for Mixie. He's working into the second one. Everybody dropped so low in that last fight. A great afterburn over the wall put Archaic right in front of a bad mojo, but the double divine intervention and fountain coming out of Bradley did keep Archaic alive, and he is just now going to be able to work into his Frostburn here. About 500 gold to go before that is on the line. So, not quite at that 3-item spike for Celeste yet. And Jared, already level 12, has the Eve of Harvest instead of the Clockwork is a little bit concerning to me.
It'll be interesting to see if Archaic is going to be going for the Frostburn or if he's going to just buy himself an infusion here and wait a bit longer. And it looks like the option is going to be to save up for now. We'll see with this next rotation down to the shop. At the moment, honestly... Well, there's our answer. It is save up for the Frostburn, forego the infusion. That could be risky. If the side of Insolence can find an engagement right now, they would actually have the advantage just because they have the infusions active, and there are none active for the side of NRG, and this could be a good situation for them. They could just get on through. Fearsome Shade onto just the Baron. He's isolated, but he's going to get the Divine Intervention healing. Now can they find any more Archaic? The next target, another Divine Intervention onto Archaic, is going to keep him healthy. Mixi still alive on the back lines as well, and Jared is now on the run. He has his cooldowns available, but he just doesn't feel confident enough to use them. It's going to be Archaic chasing him down with the Helios. Does get the kill, but it's traded out 2 for 1 when the day is over, but that could have been a much more lopsided fight.
It absolutely could have, and there was a pretty clear trade-off going for the Frostburn versus the Infusion. The Infusion obviously does give you some additional cooldown as well as some additional defense, but I think the utility from the Frostburn was absolutely huge in that last fight. Glaive wasn't able to make it to Mixi to get that last attack that it would have needed. It gave Bradley enough time to get the Divine Intervention down, get the Fountain off, and Mixi was able to turn around and clean up a kill. And, now that 4th item is online for Mixi, as well as level 12 Infusion. You have to be scared of this Baron at this point, and he should be able to upgrade actually to Tier 2 boots next time he makes it to the shop, which will give him some additional health as well. And, that additional health from just the boots is enough to pretty much negate that Tension Bow proc coming out of Evolutions.
Yeah, it can be, it seems like a small amount when you're playing, but it can be the difference between life and death. As you get into these later stages of the game, that little bit of health can sometimes be all you need. But looking up at the scoreboard, 6 kills apiece, still about a 3,000 gold lead in favor of NRG. But they've only been able to take that 1 turret thus far. Insolence really putting up a very strong fight here. And they've had a chance in pretty much all of these team fights, and all it takes is one team fight going their way for this entire game to swing on its head.
Yeah, it absolutely could. I mean, the death timer is getting longer and longer. If Team Insolence is able to find, one fight here, the Kraken is now on the board. They could easily swing things into their favor, but it is going to take just the right fight as Bradley gets locked up.
And they're trying to take down Bradley. A nice Fearsome Shade coming through, but a beautiful block. They're getting onto the back lines, but those Divine Interventions are just doing too much work. And at this stage, it's going to be very difficult for Insolence to find a team fight win because Bradley has all of that healing available. He dives on through, finds another kill, and it's just one member left standing. Bearhound, he made a steal the gold mine earlier. I don't think he's even going to be able to get to this Kraken in time to try and steal it away. That is Kraken unleashed by NRG, and they can finally look to make some more progress in the lane.
They absolutely can look to push down this turret. Baron and Celeste making short work. That's going to go an extra mile in their Kraken push because now Kraken actually won't get hit by that percentage of health damage that an exploding turret does. So that Kraken is going to be just a little bit healthier as it approaches the base, but Mixi is taking the opportunity to rotate down and re-infuse and is now very, very far away from his team and his Kraken. Archaic and Bradley have to be careful here.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. He's able to get back on in here. And he's going to drop the ultimate, looking for an engage perhaps. Bradley going to get where Dane just sticks around inside of it. Doesn't have to worry. Members of Insolence trying to just get damage onto the Kraken. so that they can perhaps look for a fight afterwards. But Evolution is taking a lot of damage as turret falls. It's just one turret left standing. Kraken still healthy enough. They can look to try and end perhaps here. The turret is down. Mixie jumps on forward, gets onto the crystal, just trying to avoid enough damage. The divine intervention will keep him alive. He turns around, looks for the kills now. They find one, they find two, make it an ace. And that is going to be game number 1, going the way of NRG. A much closer game I think anyone would have anticipated, but that was still the expected outcome, just not an expected way to get there.
Yeah, it was very close, but it was a very early and mid-game composition versus a very late-game composition. So as the game went on, it did start to look cleaner and cleaner for NRG. But, to help break us down that game and get us prepared for game number 2, we'll be heading over to the desk with our boy Dragonborn.
Hey, Denominate Tasty, thanks so much. What an exciting matchup. You guys are right. That was incredibly close. And the seed gap between these teams, we're talking about a 4 seed versus a 29 seed. It just didn't feel like that. NRG won the game. They played better, but they did so in a way that was hard. They were struggling for parts of the game. And honestly, the team fight mechanical skill that came out of Team Insolence was very surprisingly good. I mean, they worked great. The Baptiste pick was something they played around to the best of their ability. There were some build items. There were some choices that, you could talk about as you look at that game. I mean, not having a Broken Myth, building, the Shatterglass made sense first, going with the Eve, it could have worked. It was definitely having its potential to work. I think Evolutions on the Glaive, really aggressive, doing a fantastic job, and Bearhound as a land support. Now, if you're NRG, you've got to be thinking about, all right, this team definitely knows how to play these heroes. We need to probably put them on something different and see how that goes.
Yeah, we absolutely could be looking to get a little bit more of the change-ups in the draft here. I'm not really sure the Finn ban is really the smartest thing here. I mean, we did have the changes to the Echo. That's the only thing that really makes sense, but I don't know if it warrants a ban.
Well, it's hard to say. We haven't, myself personally, haven't been into these competitive matches or playing ranked at that level. I've been seeing a lot of Finn ban, actually, in playing ranked, and this is likely just a hero that, because you have these mages in the lane now, the mages are definitely susceptible more so to the damage that comes out of Finn. They're a little bit squishier, and they're harder to poke down the enemy team when you've got the support from a Finn. So we're jumping into draft for game number 2, and we're getting right into it as Grace is that first ban.
Grace and Catherine coming off the board, so Finn finally makes it through, and Team Insolence finding this to be apparently a power pick that I'm not aware of yet. I'm going to have to look and see if Finn did get any sizable changes. I don't remember any, but maybe. We'll have to see. They do pick that up, so we will very likely see an Echo Hook coming out of them. And NRG does pick up the Celeste, and maybe looking at this Glaive as well. I think that would be a pretty potent combination. But we'll just have to see what happens here. Bacon, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about this Finn?
I mean, the only change that he had in update 2.8 was about 20 increased fortified health early on, scaling up from 20 to 50. But that's not enough to make him this power pick that's getting prioritized so heavily. I mean, obviously one of the big things is with a hero like a Scarf. When Scarf becomes prominent, Finn can do okay because he can body block a lot of those shots. But to me, Finn is just there's so much mobility in the game right now, and that's such a big focus that Finn ends up falling behind and just kind of becoming just a target for your opponents to stack up Broken Myth and Breaking Point stacks on.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely easy for a Celeste to build up those Broken Myth stacks. He's so slow, he can't really get out of the way of the range of the Heliogenesis. But it is going to be looking like a Ringo and a Scarf. And I think it should be pretty clear that it should be a lane Ringo and a jungle Scarf. But who knows? Maybe they'll switch it up. Maybe we'll get to see some Ringo duel out some Krull in the jungle. We'll have to see how that turns out, but an Arden Krull is a pretty scary combination, Bacon.
That's definitely can be a very strong formidable duo, but into a Scarf. I mean, Scarf can do quite well against a Krull early on. Once you get to the late game, if Krull can get onto the Scarf, then you can make life very difficult for Scarf. But throughout the early game, we always talk about when there's a Scarf, you want to try and shut down Scarf early. That's actually fairly difficult for a Krull to do. Scarf should win those really early game duels.
He should, especially with a good goop placement. But again, we'll just have to see who goes where. Well, we're going to have Scarf and Ringo rotating through the jungle. We get a beautiful look at this amazing Finn skin, though, Bacon. This Bakuto Finn.
Maybe that's the whole reason it's been focused.
I mean, it very well could be.
Everyone just wants to be the first one to show off this new skin because it is gorgeous. It's really gorgeous. Maybe could be another issue is the polite company on the skin can be a lot more difficult to read. So maybe that's another reason why he's getting. I'm just trying to find any reason why he might be getting prioritized so heavily. But at the moment, it is going to be the Ancient Treant getting worked on. Who's going to be able to take that one? It does go over to the side of Insolence.
It will be going over to Insolence, and Krull is now on to Ringo Bacon.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see if you're a Ringo, is a Krull in your face at level 1 or 2 because you cannot get away. That's going to be first blood going the way of NRG. Are they going to look for more? It looks like Scarf wants to try and get into the NRG jungle. And Finn is going to be backtracking a bit with some boots just to make sure that can happen.
That was a pretty good juke here out of that Finn. And, I guess I could see Finn being good into the mage meta, but maybe not specifically when the Scarf is on your team. He is very good at blocking out those Spitfires. Obviously, he does get the additional shield just off of his perk as well as the additional health. So he can make it pretty easy to block some of those incoming Spitfires. Celeste doesn't really care. We'll drop some Heliogenesis right over his face if she needs to. But maybe it'll just be good pulling in with the Scarf. I could see, obviously, like a Goop and a Forced Accord coming through. But it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely is. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. Also have to look at the how exactly these minion candies are going to work out. This Evolutions has one in the inventory. Could just be a case of had 50 gold laying around, so decided to grab one and just see if you can make a play happen with it. Obviously, a lot of players, when they use the minion candies, it's usually to build up a wave and just let it push in and buy yourself a little bit of extra time to rotate down to the jungle and help your teammates. But we'll have to see what the use they're going to make out of it. Mixi in the lane on the Celeste, taking a little bit of damage here. Bearhound is going to be on the front lines. The rest of the team rotates up from NRG. And no one's really going to be looking to go too aggressive right now.
Yeah, it's definitely not a whole lot of aggression. We do have the 1-for-1 trade, but more importantly, we have 1,000 gold lead already built up for NRG here. And it's it's definitely going to be interesting. But now it looks like Archaic is going to try to find the Scarf here.
Yeah, Archaic looking for that damage to try and get the kill, but Jared looks like he will be able to get out safely. Doesn't have a whole lot of energy, so we can't really try and chase. And Archaic, being this Krull, obviously you can stick around in the jungle early on for so long. He's going to actually find that Jared's going for this Treant again. Has to dodge out the root, but he gets the Treant for himself. Denying a little bit of gold. Going to try and build up that hero perk. Maybe make a move again. But thinks better of it. Says, you know what, let's just take this gold instead. Especially with Bradley going low. They don't want to be taking too many risks here in the early game.
Yeah, definitely don't want to take too many risks. Archaic has gone for Mixi has gone for the first item, Eve of Harvest, which we did see out of Archaic last game as well. And it looks like Archaic might be building into the Poison Shiv. There it is. And that is going to give him a lot of sustain, as well as reduce some of that fountain healing that will eventually come out of Bearhound when they get it available. Evolution's not quite at a Sorrow Blade yet. That's going to be really where Ringo gets a pretty big burst of damage. when paired with the twirling silver, you don't have to commit too much into attack speed to get those attacks down. So definitely going to be where Insolence is going to have to look to push their aggression, and Scarf going into the first item Broken Myth will will have some damage in the pretty early game as well.
Yeah, the early game damage can definitely be something that can help swing a game. If you can snowball through the early game and into the mid and late game, you can buy yourself some really important time, especially against a composition like this, where you really need to get that early lead, because if it goes too late, the damage it basically just kind of becomes anyone's game once we get into the late game. So Archaic, he's going to be looking to invade once again, not going to be finding his target and immediately just reversing direction and heading on out. Evolutions, keeping himself safe on the top side of the lane. I really like his positioning throughout this laning phase, making sure he's not in too risky of a position. There's a bit of a skirmish going on, but I just don't feel like either team really has enough damage to be able to fully commit to a fight and try and make anything happen off of it.
Well, Jared is level 6 now on this Scarf. That's Dragon's Breath will be available, but so will Archaic in the top lane bush here.
Oh, they are able to finally make that play happen. They've looked for a couple of ambushes throughout these first 6 minutes. Finally get one to connect, and now looking for a little bit more, diving deep underneath the turret. This is so risky. The big stuns coming through is going to be enough, and getting that the big smite heal for Archaic heals up pretty much all of the damage he took from the turret, and now they're just looking to try and get damage done onto this turret, taking it down below health. Jared is back now, but he's not going to be able to keep them from taking down that first objective.
Yeah, and that's something that Celeste is really, really good at. When she's uncontested on a turret or a Kraken, the amount of damage she can put down is absolutely huge. But so can Scarf with that Spitfire and Goop combo. Actually does steal away that Treant that NRG was looking for. And they're going to split the Ambient Gold in the backs onto Evolutions and onto Jared. So not quite at the amount of gold he would have needed for the Broken Myth, but he's actually spent it on upgrading his boots at this point. So we are now, this is going to be probably a 9-minute first tier 3 item out of Scarf at this point.
And it's not ideal, to say the least. An awfully late first item. We see a lot of the stats during the regular season and the live event of most players getting their first item around the 5 to 6 minute mark. So having your first tier 3 not come out until this late in the game and still waiting for it is going to be really putting the side of Insolence pretty far behind the curve. So NRG with an opportunity to make them pay. That's going to be a big from Hell's Heart connecting onto the Scarf. And well, actually Solar Storm goes wide, but it isn't going to matter. They do get the kill. That's going to put that first tier 3 item that much further behind, as Archaic still looking for more underneath these turrets. Evolutions is far enough away that he's not in danger. That's going to be the Hellfire Brew onto Archaic, but he's so healthy. Got the Vanguard as well, just to reduce the damage taken that much further. And Archaic now sitting here ready and waiting to try and ambush them again. He's going to go charging out, looking for Evolutions. The Core Collapse comes out. Stun will find a kill. Dragon's Breath being used, but to no effect. Without having a tier 3 item, Jared just doesn't really have an impact.
Yeah, now he's committed into even more Crystal Power without completing a tier 3 item. We are now 9 minutes in the game, no tier 3 on Scarf, no Frostburn to try to help any kind of peel from Archaic here. It is going to be about some good crowd control coming out of Bearhound. The Crystal Sentry is defeated for the first time now. And, 4,500 gold lead now for NRG. Mixi has the Overdriven Heliogenesis. He is level 9. And NRG is now going to turn their attention onto this gold mine. But Bearhound might have something to say about that. He had a good steal last game.
Yeah, he could look for another one, but he's in the area. Obviously, the Quibble can do a lot of damage. It's actually going to be enough to force NRG away. They also noticed that their turret was going down, so excellent heads-up play by Evolutions to go ahead and take that turret. Trading your life for a turret, if it's one kill and you don't lose anything really off the back of it, is always going to be worth it. Even though that first turret is only worth 200 gold per player now instead of the 300, it's still, you're trading 600 gold for one kill. Now they need to make sure they can protect their own turret, which it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Mixi, one more Helio will destroy that. Solar Storm goes on through as well, pushing Insulin's back. And this is, again, just looking like NRG has firm control.
Yeah, Jared has got enough gold to complete the Frostburn now if he needs to. He does find a Spitfire on Archaic, but man, that Dragon's Breath is not going to find anything, unfortunately, Bacon. And that Spitfire will, though.
Yeah, Spitfire definitely can still do some work, but again, I mean, we're 10.5 minutes in, and Jared does not have a tier 3 item in his inventory. Obviously, does have a few tier 2s and all, but without getting that big spike onto the tier 3s, Scarf just doesn't have an impact. The damage is not really there. The Dragon's Breath doesn't do a lot. Finally finishes off a Shatterglass first item at almost 11 minutes into the game. We talked about the fact that 18 minutes is a usual mark for Scarf, where once you go past 18 minutes, the game can really swing either way. But that's going to be delayed so much further because of how far behind Jared has gotten.
I mean, if he does get a build online, he is going to have a lot of sheer damage, but he is a long way away from that point. Right now, sitting at 42 CS, he's not that far behind in CS. But the prioritization and how he spent his gold could have changed some of these fights, just depending on how they ended up going out. But Bradley is now taking a lot of damage. Good block, though.
Yeah, Bradley is just kind of stalling and delaying while this gold miner goes over. Does get secured by NRG. They could look for another fight here, but looks like they are just going to be waiting for now. 6-1, 12 minutes in. NRG holding on to a 6,000 gold lead after that gold mine take. And just really kind of starving out the members of Insolence. You mentioned Jared being so far behind in the jungle. He's only got the one tier 3 item in the lane. We're still looking at a full tier 3 item behind for Evolutionists as the Crystal Sentry gets defeated. And NRG maybe now looking to try and be a little bit more aggressive, try and force the issue a bit more, because they are able to take pretty much anything they want.
Yeah, they definitely are, and we're still a couple minutes away from the Kraken coming on board. But now Mixi's sitting on his 4th offensive item and is really trusting Bradley at this point. There is no block, and Mixi's actually going into armor, so really relying on the good Crucible coming out of Bradley. Nowhere near an Echo on Bearhound yet, so don't have to worry about blocking anything but the one. Was that a supernova, or was that one Helio that just jumped Jared for 600 damage? I think that was just one Heliogenesis, if I saw that correctly. But man, Mixi bringing the pain here, and 1,300 gold in his pocket, not looking to let up the aggression, forcing this wave further in, Bacon.
And landing, that's a supernova that does do 620 damage to Evolutions. Solar Storm comes through. They're just trying to really push the issue now. They're going to turn their attention to the Crystal Sentry as it respawns. He's just trying to go about his day, and he's just going to be eliminated off the fold. Hellfire Brew getting used, does not get blocked, so that'll get some good burn damage, but still just not going to be enough from Hell's Heart. Lands onto Scarf. He's down. Bearhound tries to get away. Has to run through the gauntlet. Obviously not going to get stunned, but does do a lot of damage. Does get himself back to the healing platform, though. We'll be okay. Meanwhile, Archaic takes the Treant. Sentry's already gone. And now they're going to be onto this turret, looking for more. The turret is going to get eaten up by that Solar Storm. Choke point turret destroyed 14 minutes in. And this is just looking like an absolutely dire situation for the side of Insolence.
Yeah, this is definitely different than we saw last game. Mixi is now sitting on 3,000 gold in his pocket, going to take this opportunity to recall. Maybe some Halcyon charges here, some additional cooldown and energy regeneration. We have seen him low on energy pretty frequently, but it is going to be an Aegis instead, so he does now have that block, as well as has picked up a level 12 infusion. So definitely going to be an opportunity. This is a 4-item mage versus a 1 2/3 item mage. So definitely the damage is favoring NRG, and the team fights have just been looking so much cleaner for them. And Bradley does have the gauntlet down right now, but he has the echo, and it's only 15 seconds they need to hold out for a hard engage. Will they be able to do it, though? Here comes Archaic.
Archaic's looking for some damage. They're going to be trying to go in again. That's going to be so much being done. Even before the Solar Storm from Hell's Heart will stun up Evolutions. That's going to be the Force Accord getting blocked. And Archaic, one more Dead Man's Rush, will secure the ace. And 15 minutes into the game, the death timers aren't the longest that they could be. But without having a choke point turret, this could potentially be NRG looking to close out the series.
Yeah, they definitely can look to close it out here with the amount of damage that Mixi has. These turrets are getting absolutely annihilated. 1 turret to go, turrets down, gauntlet. Bacon, I think this is game number 2 going to NRG here.
Yeah, absolutely looking that way. They're going to be taking a lot of damage here, but it doesn't matter because the crystal has been destroyed. An NRG 2-0 fashion. Very dominant in game number 2. It was not as close as game number 1. Game number 1 was a lot closer than I think was expected. But in game number 2, they really just completely starved out Insolence and dominated the game from start to finish.
Yeah, and looking over at the jungle, Archaic was able to complete 3 tier 3 items as well as be infused towards the end of that game. Scarf never got to that point that he was online. Unfortunate for them, as well as Finn never got the echo for the Forced Accord, so lost out on a pretty heavy engage potential there. But overall, you know, that first game was looking pretty close. And, you know, NRG, again, they came in with a new look today. Obviously, Tribe made it pretty far in the last season, so Miko bringing a lot of that really experienced lane presence to this team. I definitely think is going to be huge for them going forward. This could be a team that could go all the way.
Yeah, guys. Well, this was an exciting matchup, and I'm really excited to see Mixi perform. He has been kind of a really steady Eddie on a lot of these teams that he's been on in Challengers, but hasn't found that team to push him to the way. Archaic, huge story in this match. What a performance, and the aggression he pulled out with Cruel. Historically, an assassin crystal jungle main, able to come in here and play this weapon carry with a lot of success. Granted, you kind of expect this with the seeding, but as close as game 1 was, there was some doubt in our mind. This composition could have been something that maybe with that crystal scarf would have been a little bit harder to deal with. And honestly, it all came down to NRG as a team. They just shut the scarf down. We did see, you know, Mixi was 4 items in when Evolutions was only at 2 tier 3 items. That is an incredible disparity to have to deal with in every single team fight leading up to that moment. NRG did a great job holistically as a team to get to that point where they could win every fight.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and you'll have to update me on what our next streamed game is going to be, Dragon, before we go into the break here. Well, I'm sure the viewers are ready to know what we've got prepared for them for game number 3.
Yeah, we've had a lot of exciting matchups conclude. Let's take a quick look at the bracket as we get into this and just do some quick updates here, right here live on stream to give you guys. So, of course, the Nova Challengers did win their match, and we were waiting for the results of Vision Gaming versus Feint Gaming, and looks like those results have come in. Vision Gaming did win that series. It will be going up against Nova here in this next matchup, and that will be the next matchup we are going to stream for you guys today. The 8th seed versus the 9th seed. It's going to be close. And honestly, these two orgs, I love these guys, what they do, what Vision Gaming and Nova have brought to the Vainglory competitive scene. It's been absolutely a treat. These are completely different rosters from what we saw. Vision Gaming has an all-new look, and Nova Challengers is their challenger team, not their Vainglory A team. So it is going to be really exciting to see. You can see also Witch Doctor VG, they won their matchup. No upsets yet, guys, by the way. And of course, NRG winning theirs does conclude that at least here in Group A, we have had no upsets whatsoever starting off this first couple of games. But that, you know how that works, Day. It always changes so quickly.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And Vision Gaming, obviously coming into the new roster is going to be interesting to watch here. I think their lineup, I think they did keep Shaded Talent, if I remember correctly,
Right.
but they picked up PvP Trinity and Kaz, who I want to say that was Infinity Rebirth, right?
I believe that was
Intensity.
Yeah. So this is a roster that
so.
were coming off from Intensity. The Shaded Talent had come off that roster and now is like joining with his colleagues. They are a good roster. They played very well. They always were able to find ways to make it to the playoffs most of the time. So definitely a team.
And taking games off of Immortals as well was absolutely huge for them. They unfortunately did drop, but to be able to take games off a team that ended up going all the way to second place at the Unified Finals is definitely something to look forward for them here in VIS.
Proud moment for sure. We're going to take a quick break, everybody, but when we come back, we'll be getting into more actions. We get into our final series of the night, so you're not going to want to miss it. You guys have been admittedly watching some pretty one-sided series. That's all going to change as we get into the winner round number 2. Don't want to miss it after the break.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Welcome back live, everybody. We are getting ready for our third and final series of the night. I'm your host, Dragonborn, and joining me, Tasty Bacon and Denominate to get us into the action. Let's get right into this one. This is probably going to be the closest matchup of the entire night, and this is going to be Nova Challengers versus Vision Gaming. These two teams, pretty much all new rosters for the for the teams that were here before. Big change for Vision Gaming and Nova. This is their Challenger squad. Coming in here with all new matchups to nominate. Break it down for me. What do we expect to see coming out of these two teams?
I mean, I think the obvious thing out of these two teams is going to be the roster changes. We talked about it a little bit with the, obviously intensity now coming over to the lineup, and they've had some really good success in the past. So it's definitely going to be all about who can clean everything up. Obviously, Shaded Talent sticking on the Vision roster as well. And then it's going to be Plot, Fatal, and Invulnerable playing for us on the other side. So going to be interesting to see how they can hold up again. Intensity always looked so good in these games. So getting them, now with Shaded Talent, it's going to be interesting to see how they synergize together.
No, it absolutely is. And, there's a lot to be said about these two rosters. There's a lot to be, there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of raw talent. And we haven't really seen these players necessarily find a way to push it to the top 4 on their own. Maybe this is a chance for them to do it this split, and maybe in this season. We'll just have to wait and see. We are about ready to get into this matchup. And there's, I really expect, Vision Gaming has this team that has a lot more synergy. So one of the things we haven't seen is how Nova Challenger team will handle in this circumstance. I mean, typically we've seen PvP Trinity and Shaded Talent just have great synergy together, as well as with Kaz. So I'm definitely looking forward to this matchup. But we are getting into the draft, Denominate, so let's jump right in.
And a Catherine is going to come off the board very, very quickly here. And that's something we've seen for quite a few patches now, actually. So not anything major changed here. The Lyra is actually going to come off the table, though, in return. So a little bit different. We're going to see the Grace make it through the ban here. Will Nova decide to take it, though? Is that something they're comfortable playing? Obviously, we've seen teams straying away from that.
Yeah, a few teams take it. Idris is going to be the first pick. They go with the laner. It makes a lot of sense to nominate because, it has been one of those priority picks and can be flex, weapon, or crystal. Looks like Finn, though. I mean, I think we've seen Finn in every single game to this point, guys. This is definitely something we need to take note of.
It definitely has. Go ahead. I don't know if you were back yet, Bacon, but yeah, the Finn has been 100% pick or ban so far, so that's a little different.
Definitely unexpected. We'll see if that trend does continue throughout this Challengers, or if it's just something that's happening early on. A lot of times we see when a new update hits, the first couple of first week or two of competitive with that update will be vastly different from how the update ends. So it is something I do expect to change, but for now, we do see the Idris pairing that with a Grace. I think is one of the best combos you can have. Grace or Lyra alongside Idris are just absolutely dominant on this update. Looks like they're definitely trying to decide which captain they want to go with, but it looks like the Lance will be the selection, and it leads to a pretty quick Scarf lock-in.
Yeah, it does, and that Glaive and Scarf combination can be so absolutely devastating, Bacon. It's going to be all about the execution game, though, and that's something that we know intensity for, so looking forward to this one for sure.
And that's should be an excellent one. Like Dragonborn mentioned, it may just be the closest game we have of the night, as it is going to be the two closest seeds, 8 and 9, going head-to-head. Let's see who's going to come out on top.
All right, getting into this game, it's very likely going to be, I would say, the weapon Idris in the lane. Wouldn't you say so, Bacon, against the Glaive?
Yeah, most likely to be the case. We have seen teams try and run the double crystal, but it makes a lot more sense. Yeah, and it makes a lot more sense to run. Just split up your damage types, make it so it's not as easy to itemize against. We'll
yeah, it's definitely a huge effect if you're going double crystal. One shield item is going to reduce the incoming damage of basically your entire team. So that's definitely something huge. I do like the Idris I do like the Glaive into the Idris, though. Idris obviously very good at executing those squishy targets. Obviously, Glaive has been, one paired with the Catherine, probably the second highest counter for Idris. So definitely a useful pick here. We obviously see the Finn coming out. I do think the Finn can work really well with the Scarf, but I think Celeste has a lot of opportunity, obviously, to use those Heliogenesis to get over Finn. He's not able to body block quite as well. And that's kind of my one downfall with Finn is he's very slow, and when body blocking isn't really something that he's capable of doing, he's usually not the best pick. I definitely can see him work still. This is a very talented team, but here comes Celeste, and it's going to go over to Shaded Talent.
Yeah, Shaded Talent gets himself the Ancient Treant. Obviously, he would have liked to get that onto the Scarf, but as long as you secure the gold and experience for your team, that's all that really matters when it's contested. So it will be the side of Vision Gaming able to grab a little bit of extra gold, steal away a little bit of the jungle, but focus is going to have to go up to the lane for Fatal on this Idris against PvP Trinity. These are two names that, have been around the Vainglory scene for a while. Neither of these two players has really been able to push themselves into that upper echelons of laners or players that we've talk about all the time, but they've both been on the cusp a couple of times. This could be their opportunity to really make a name for themselves.
Yeah, they definitely can make a name for themselves. It is even score line as far as kills go, 0-0, no first blood bounty. But it is so far a little bit of a gold lead for the B side here. So that is definitely going to be interesting to see if they're able to run away with that. Vision Gaming obviously didn't make it quite as far as they were hoping in the last run through. Looking to make a good change here, though, at the pickup of Kaz and PvP Trinity. And Glaive has actually been one of those most key picks for PvP Trinity. So I do want to lean a little bit on the Vision Gaming's lineup here.
Yeah, and having a little bit of that extra gold, just a result of their early movement through the jungle. So they were able to grab the Ancient Treant once again. And so that's going to just help to increase that lead a little bit. And looking up into the lane, it's also PvP Trinity with an edge in terms of the CS there. So that's good news for the side of Vision Gaming. If they can keep this lead, you just slowly continue to build on it through the first 4 minutes. Obviously, the jungle is about to intensify, which will be taking that Ancient Treant off the map. But that's going to be a beautiful afterburn from Trinity. Fatal actually gets himself out of the goop. Very nicely done to keep him alive. If that goop had gotten ignited while he was on it, very likely it would have been first blood.
Yeah, that burst damage from a Spitfire and goop can be absolutely huge. The Spitfire just misses the target, though. And like you said, if those would have landed, it would have been a kill for sure. And, Ancient Treant does go over to the side of Nova, but we're still sitting about 1,000 gold lead for Vision here. And for Glaive to be ahead of Idris is looking pretty good for them. Will Plot be able to find something, though?
Plot's definitely looking for something, but isn't going to be able to find it. Instead, this could be PvP Trinity making the play happen. Plot is getting stuck on that goop for so long, and first blood going the way of Vision.
Yeah, like we talked about, it's really been PvP Trinity on Glaive that has given the team in the past a lot of success. And we see it there, low health, didn't care, popped that new healing flask, came in with the afterburn, punted him right back into the death grip of Scarf and Finn with that additional lockdown. And, they will put number 1 up on the board for them as we approach the 5-minute mark now, extending their gold lead a little bit. Again, nothing that Nova can't come back from. And, obviously Nova has some of the resources from their parent team. So, I'm sure they've been getting some good practice in it. It's always nice to have 2 teams where they can scrim each other. So that is a potential bonus Nova could have. Afterburn just misses, though.
We've seen a lot of afterburns onto minions tonight. It has been a little bit unfortunate for these Glaive players. There's a few afterburn a minion. It's almost just a wasted afterburn. And unfortunately for PvP Trinity, going to have to go back to the drawing board once again. As still holding on to a nice little lead in the lane, but could have really expanded upon that if they were able to make that play work out. Instead, just going to constantly try and shove this minion wave up into the turret, force Fatal to miss as many minions as possible. And he's actually missing a couple as he tries to go a little bit aggressive on the Shaded Talent. So you got to choose your fights, especially as a laner early in the game. You know you're not going to be able to take down a Finn. Focus on the minions, especially when you've already fallen behind a little bit.
Yeah, and we actually have to pay a lot of credit here. Shaded Talent is level 6, and Fatal just now hit level 6. The Force Accord is available, but will it land onto Celeste? Oh, I think you should have grabbed there. Oh, man. No reflex blocks, no Crucible. Yep. Celeste was all on her own with a Scarf and a Glaive there. That was a for sure kill, but they're going to go for Fatal instead.
Fatal getting it knocked in. That's going to be a core collapse, not connecting, but Fatal with a nice ultimate prevents himself from taking a lot of damage, especially as the Dragon's Breath was started up. And dodging away from all of that keeps him alive, allows Plot to then try and get a little bit of interference run to allow the rest of the team to get out safely. But Vision Gaming, they're putting a ton of pressure onto this lane and onto this turret, and they're going to be looking to get a lot of work done here, almost taking it down. Looks like they are going to get that first turret destroyed. Excellent work by Vision Gaming, just making the pressure happen.
Yeah, that's one nice thing about the Scarf is really at all points in the game, it is just so much objective damage. A Spitfire, a Goop, it can really devastate a team. And, it's really showing. They were able to get that first turret down. We're only 7 minutes in the game. They've now extended their gold lead, approaching 2,500. And obviously, Scarf coming online is going to be the key win situation for the side of Vision. That Frostburn is active, so they're going to be starting to look for some fights here.
As they look for a Forced Accord, that one does get blocked. Now the reflex block has come out for Invulnerable and is able to prevent themselves from getting pulled in. Vision Gaming, again, gonna maybe just look to try and put some pressure onto the lane, but now that, never mind. I was gonna say Invulnerable, level 8 has the range, but range doesn't matter if you get kicked into the team. Dragon's Breath comes out, doesn't have a whole lot of damage on it, but PvP Trinity and the rest of the team chasing down onto Fatal. The Polite Company will pull him back in, that little bit needed for a second kill, and Vision Gaming really starting to find their groove here.
Yeah, it's got to be the Glaive skin, right? I mean, that's what we're going to go with here, Bacon. The Glaive skin helping PvP Trinity get in, get that great afterburn down after the reflex block was burned from Invulnerable right into a Goop from Kaz, and the Spitfire just blew him up. And now they're turning their attention on the gold mine, but here comes Nova.
And Nova is going to be trying to get the gold mine. Doesn't go their way. And now Plot in trouble, trying to keep himself alive. They aren't going to be chasing that kill, though. I think they really had an opportunity to do so, but instead visiting the shop, a little bit of an infusion for the side of Vision Trinity doesn't get over the wall. That's going to prevent them from being able to find a kill. But Goldminer did go over to Vision Gaming, and they continue to build on this lead.
I mean, clearly PvP Trinity got distracted by the beautiful Glaive skin and didn't quite calculate the wall jump there. If it would have been a T-Tigers, that would have been a kill. But unfortunately, not quite able to find it. Invulnerable does have the Eve of Harvest complete on the Celeste, so that will give some additional sustain and energy regeneration, but not quite the damage spike that a Celeste can have if you go with something like a Frostburn first with that higher crystal ratio. And obviously, we've talked about on the bit tonight that a bonus gold that comes out of the gold miner now, absolutely huge. 400 for everybody on the team. Makes up for the 100 loss of gold that we had on that first turret. So, fairly even, a gold and a gold miner and a turret take there. But Invulnerable needs to get a second item online to really be able to do anything, and Shaded Talent has to not miss those Forced Accords. So really good, sidestepping there out of Nova, though, not having to burn that Crucible.
Yeah, and keeping the Crucible up is extremely important for Nova to make sure that they can block the Forced Accords when they do come through later on. Obviously, if you can know that the Forced Accord isn't going to connect, or if you are actually looking for a fight and want to get pulled in, that's another thing that we don't really talk about a lot with Finn, is there are times when a team will actually want to get pulled in, especially when you're running a Lance and Idris. Like, if a Forced Accord hits those two, that's actually almost beneficial for the side of Nova if they can get themselves farmed up a bit, because they're a team that wants to engage. They Fatal and Plot want to dive through. Trinity failed another afterburn over the wall. We'll pretend no one saw that, but those two want to engage. They want to dive onto the back lines, and if you pull them in, that's almost doing their job for you.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and we've really seen that sometimes where a Finn pull might not get blocked, and it ends up actually being devastating for the team with Finn. And if Scarf is standing a little too close and Idris is able to get on him that much easier, it definitely could be Nova taking advantage of bad positioning out of Kaz.
And positioning is going to be important. Trinity lands the afterburn onto a target this time at least, but knocked Fatal the wrong way, not quite having the distance on it that you would like. Still, it's going to be enough to just keep them at bay, keep the pressure on, let them know that they are still lurking. It buys time for Vision Gaming to duck down to the shop, pick themselves up some infusions, an Atlas Pauldron, I think Tier 3 boots got completed for Glaive as well. And so this is going to be where they really want to make something happen. With an infusion active on both of their carries, they can push up onto this turret. This is going to be very similar to the first turret take, where they just walk up to the turret and take it down without any real contest from the side of Nova. Forced Accord, nicely blocked by Plot. But now, can Vision Gaming find anything else? Afterburn is going to knock the Celeste away from the team, and that's exactly what they wanted. Trinity not getting the ultimate off quickly enough, though. Here comes the Dragon's Breath, trying to just find this kill. A big stun onto the Scarf, cancels out the ultimate, and allows the kill to go through. That's 1-for-1. Plot is going to just be the lone member surviving now as they take down Invulnerable. Trinity looking to chase through, has the afterburn available, uses it into the wall. It actually cancels out the dodge roll. He just got over the wall, but got canceled from being able to move any further. Beautiful timing on the afterburn, and an ace for Vision Gaming.
An ace and a choke point turret going in their favor. So that is a big objective to have taken down. 8,000 gold in the advantage for the side of Vision. And PvP Trinity should be hitting level 12 here on Glaive pretty soon. Oh, the Afterburn!
Afterburn able to set up another kill. Vision Gaming, they are on a warpath right now. Trinity, I think maybe he heard us talking about his Afterburns earlier, because they have been on point the last few minutes. Another nice one into the wall on Plot. Doesn't lead to a kill, but this is Vision Gaming really pulling ahead now. Their gold lead has ballooned up in a big way.
Yeah, now turning their attention onto this gold miner, and obviously Scarf can take it very quickly when Shaded Talent doesn't polite company the gold miner out of the goop. But uncontested, 333 gold going over to Vision, as well as looking for some more of the enemy's jungle, and they are going to find it. Shaded Talent now has the energy regeneration built on Finn. Definitely should be working in towards that Echo. Plot has been doing a good job blocking one pull, but should not be able to block a second one. So that is definitely going to come down to Invulnerable and Fatal, making sure they use the Reflect block accordingly, because if you get pulled into a Glaive and a Scarf, it's going to be lights out very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, at the moment, it's looking very good for Vision Gaming. They've been able to find the fights. They're the ones that are being aggressive and starting things off. Using the Force Cord, even though it gets blocked a lot of the times, it still is just canceling out the Crucible, making it so it's not available when they go in for the fight like this, and they find one in the base. And now, can PvP Trinity get out of here? He's going to be the target. Afterburns himself out to safety. Fatal is going to be going low, but he's right on the healing platform. Going to make it tough to find these kills. Fatal is going to drop, however, and Plot is the only one to get out safely. The Crystal Sentry has respawned, but it's going to walk right past everything. It's just going to be the final two turrets going down. Respawn on Invulnerable. Are they actually going to be backing off from this? They are very, very low. Solar Storm comes through, but the Githian wall actually knocked them out of the main path of the Solar Storm. They are both going to end up falling. It will just be Shaded Talent getting out alive, but there is nothing left in the base for Nova.
Yeah, and I actually don't think the Githian wall had too much to do with it. It did knock him out of the main path, but Shaded Talent's polite company was able to give just enough fortified health for PvP Trinity and Kaz to live a little bit longer, and that allowed Shaded to make it out. The infusion is picked up. That'll be some additional cooldown for that Forced Accord. Not quite level 12, so doesn't have the natural cooling reduced, but we'll be looking to... he's pulling the Kraken aggro away, looking to get it started up, and I don't think Nova knows about it. They don't have any vision, and they haven't checked. This is an interesting situation here.
Yeah,
now they know.
Yeah, they finally know as Plot rolls over the wall, but they're not making any move to try and interrupt this. They're still being very cautious, and this is going to be a free Kraken just kind of being donated over to the side of Vision Gaming. They're obviously going to get that regen coming through as well, and without any crystal turrets, Nova, they need to force a fight very early on. Otherwise, they're just going to end up losing the game. So they really cannot afford to wait. That they're still trying to back off into their base. You cannot do this.
No bacon.
Yeah, they're just. I mean, their base is getting destroyed. This is really interesting for Nova. They're about to just lose this game. Vision Gaming really took control of this one early on. Nova, I mean, I don't know. The way they played those last couple of minutes, just very confusing for me, that they recognize Kraken was being taken, do nothing about it, and then don't try and force a fight immediately. Like that, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I don't know if they knew the Kraken was getting taken. Plot did rotate over. He actually put Vision in the Kraken pit. So
He rolled into the pit and Kraken wasn't there. That means Kraken is being taken in the other book.
I don't know if he looked at the time. I think he might have just thought, okay, they must have taken Goldmine. Nothing's here, because he dropped a scout trap and then just left. So,
but even if that's an inexcusable mistake. I mean, if they didn't want to contest Kraken, that's one thing. But when you don't have any turrets left and Kraken gets unleashed by your opponents, your only option is to force a fight early on. Because even if they had waited, I mean, Vision Gaming didn't even wait for the Kraken. They just went into the game. But even if Vision Gaming had just waited for Kraken to get into the base, they would have been guaranteed that victory regardless. Because you cannot, once Kraken gets onto your Vein Crystal, you cannot win a 3v3 fight and destroy the Kraken before your crystal gets destroyed. So it's just really poor decision-making from the side of Nova in those last couple of minutes. But a great game overall from the side of Vision Gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be jumping over to the desk with Dragonborn now to help us get ready for game number 2.
Oh boy, yeah, that was an interesting turn of events, and really, like you guys were saying all along, Vision Gaming just really owning the game most for the whole time. They made really good decisions. They had good control. They obviously were able to lead for most of the game. Nova let that slip, but that's a small mistake. I mean, it's easy to focus on it. There were many times throughout the game they just really struggled in team fights. They struggled in every single engagement when it came into Vision Gaming. Vision Gaming outright won that game. But yeah, at the end, giving up a Kraken like that when you've got almost no turrets, it's just super risky, and it's something that they need to go back to the drawing boards and look at how they play in those situations. Maybe better shot calling, as there could be an issue there. We actually want to get right into game number 2, as this could go either way. Again, first matchup obviously looks like Vision Gaming has the advantage, but things can change at a moment's notice. We'll see how Nova can respond to that loss.
Yeah, as far as the draft goes, Bacon, obviously, we talked about the Glaive being just pretty decent counter into the Idris. What do you think in this single ban scenario we need to see change out of Nova Challengers in order to pull out a victory here and force us to a game 3? Now, I don't think they have their ideal starting lineup. It does appear that I think Dallas was intended to be a starter, but was unavailable to play. So I'm not sure how much that's affecting the synergy this team has put together either.
Yeah, it's definitely something that can be really impactful for teams at this level. If you don't have the players that you have been likely practicing with and preparing with, it can completely throw you off. So that could be part of it. There's a lot of different things that could be happening there, but early on, it all stemmed from the early game. It was very aggressive play from the side of Vision Gaming, and it just felt like at no point was Nova able to challenge them.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Now, it does look like they will be subbing in Dallas, their main starter, back into this matchup, so that will be could be a noticeable difference as we go into game number 2.
That'll be big news for them if they do have Dallas coming back in. As we mentioned, having the main starter, the person you were planning on playing with all along, with you in the roster and getting back underway, that could just be enough to change the course of this game, to change the momentum, and allow Nova to look better than they did in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I like the drafts from both teams. I really do, but it's just so clear, just the strength of composition. It is interesting to know, I believe, to see that Finn play works so well for Vision. It obviously was something that we've been talking about. Finn has been that pick that has been banned, and if it does get to the draft, it is immediately picked. And if they pick it here for at least the streamed matches, and we'll go back and actually look at all the games that have taken place off stream as well, Finn has been the most prioritized pick so far, to the point where it's at 100% pick ban. And so that is something that I'm surprised to see from Finn going into 2.8.
Yeah, I definitely think that Finn is a lot more viable with the fact that we are going into obviously we're going into that more Crystal Mage lane meta. I do think it works fairly well paired with that, but I think it's best against a hero that Finn can be on that front line. Finn can block out a lot of those incoming skill shots, and when paired with the Scarf, it does really well as well, because Scarf doesn't need to make that heavy engage, and obviously that fortified health can give Scarf that additional survivability, and that's a lot of what we saw last game. Idris wasn't able to get in and find the clean damage with both the just little additional movement from the Polite Company as well as the fortified health, kept Scarf alive long enough, and PvP Trinity had a really good game on Glaive. When the afterburns came through on an accurate target, they were able to clean up fights pretty impressively, actually, off the back of them.
Yeah, and so now chance for Finn potentially going to be first picked here in this situation. As Catherine is banned, Lyra's banned, Grace and Finn are both up to be picked. It looks like they will be going with the Glaive first pick, which I actually like. It's a much better flex pick, and we've seen Glaive also being a very strong prioritized pick here in the last couple of games.
And I like the fact that Lyra was banned. I still feel like there should be a lot of priority put onto Lyra. Yes, her cooldown on the Imperial Sigil was heavily increased early on, but she's still just so strong that the healing power that can come out is just massive. Nova are going to be putting the priority on the Finn this time around as they pick it up for themselves. So Finn will continue that 100% pick ban rate throughout today. We'll see what they try.
People just want to use the skin, Bacon. That's
what I think it is. I honestly think that people want to use the skin. Someone's gonna drop out of the draft.
Nova with the dodge.
Well, we'll take care of that real quick here as we wait for everyone to get back in. All right, and we should get this draft started right back again. Sorry about that, everybody. But get back into this. So it should be a quick draft as we jump right back in.
Yep, the first couple of picks and bans will obviously be the same. So Glaive, Finn, the first two picks, Lyra, Catherine banned. Idris coming through as the pick I think would make a lot of sense, but they're going to go with the Vox instead. I still don't understand why teams are not running the CP Idris more often as their priority laner. It's unbelievably strong, especially if you pair it with any kind of healing, but we'll see if Idris is going to be the option for the side of Vision, as they are hovering it, and that would be very likely putting the Glaive into the jungle with a CP Idris lane, and I love this composition that's been built up now for the side of Vision Gaming.
It absolutely has, and I think this is probably going to go into that Crystal Idris route, as you were just talking about how more teams need to run it. I think you're about to see it, because obviously the Crystal or the cooldown Glaive has really not been quite as popular as of late. so it would make more sense to just go with that bursty weapon glaive, and then obviously the kiting potential and burst potential that a crystal Idris can offer as well. He does get the bonus crystal ratio on his basic attacks when he gets that divergent path unlocked, as well as increases his range. And it is a Celeste, so this is Dallas's one key hero. This is really the hero that he does the best on. And so it'll be interesting to see if it's enough to pull through and bring us to a game 3.
Yeah, it absolutely will. I mean, it's I like both compositions. I mean, the Finn pick has been, like we said, really contested. We'll see if it is the difference maker and if we get our first game 3 of the night here on stream. But I'm going to kick it over to our casters, Tasty Bacon to nominate, to get us all into the action on the Fold.
All right, so Vision Gaming going to be looking to make it another 2-0 series if they can find this victory against the side of Nova Challengers. Nova Challengers really wants to be making a name for themselves here. It's a new roster for them. They are put on a good showing last season, but with a change to the roster, they need to be proving that they are still a top contender here in Challengers. I like the start that they're doing here, giving extra gold to both of their carries, and we'll see if they end up missing out on any in the lane. Looks like Fatal will miss out on 1 minion, but missing on 1 minion to get the ambient gold from both of your back camps is not a big deal at all. That is definitely a worthwhile trade for the side of Nova.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Getting this Celeste and Vox to the late game can be an incredibly devastating combination. However, I do have to have a little bit of concerns. We talked about how slow Finn can be. Oh, I didn't even notice Celeste getting a kill there. So that is going to be first blood going over to Dallas. My biggest concern as the game goes on is that Finn's speed and Vox's normal aggressive playstyle might have a little bit of contradiction. I do think that Finn and Celeste work well together, though, but it's now Glaive in a bad situation.
Yeah, Kaz getting chased down. Nova finding themselves a second kill. There was another kill traded, as Dallas did go down as well. Shaded Talent was able to pick that one up. Now as he tries to escape, tries to use the root circle just to buy himself some time, but you got to just keep running. Don't try and double back around Shaded. So he looks like he will be able to get to safety in the lane, and PvP Trinity and Fatal can go back to dueling in the lane once again with the help of their captain. Shaded Talent just trying to poke and do what he can as this Lance. He's very low on health, so he's going to be staying pretty far back, you'd have to assume. But PvP Trinity on this Idris is going down the crystal path as expected. So it's going to take a little while to ramp up. That's the one downside of the CP Idris, is it takes some time. But once you get online, meanwhile, down in the jungle, Dallas is going to be finding a nice core collapse stun on the Shaded, but Kaz, he has no interest in this fight any longer. He has just said, see you later, Shaded. Thanks for peeling them off of me. Now you're on your own. But Shaded, let's see how long he's going to be able to survive this. He's led them on quite a wild goose chase. Dallas has already recalled. Shaded going to land a stun, going to get over the wall. Is he going to get away from this? No. Fatal's going to come around the long way. Should be able to meet him here. No combat roll available, but the afterburn will stun up Fatal. Is that going to be enough? The resonance bounces take him so low. They split far enough, and somehow Shaded Talent gets himself out of there safely. That looked like a surefire kill for Nova, and they end up with nothing.
They end up with nothing but wasted time, Bacon. That was almost 2 full waves that Fatal just missed out on the lane here. 17, 18 CS going on 4 minutes is not where you want to be. Vox does have a lot of potential to come back, but you know, one huge thing we have going for here for Vision is Glaive is just overall pretty good into Celeste, and then the Chakrams from this Idris going the CP route. If he's able to find a double pass onto a Celeste, followed a tension bow afterburn out of Glaive, I don't know if there's going to be much that Plot's able to do to save his teammate there.
Yeah, and I mean, this, like you said, that so much time wasted by Fatal chasing down Shaded, trying to get that kill. Shaded Talent doesn't care if he's missing out on ambient gold anywhere, but Fatal is going to care a lot about the fact that he's missing out in CS in the lane. Look at the lead Trinity has over him. even though he's taking a lot of damage here off of this trade, thanks in large part due to the minions and the fact that Fatal does have the Book of Eulogies. There's another little skirmish, Shaded Talent and Kaz going to be getting themselves out of harm's way once again. But again, this is time where Trinity can push this wave up into the turret, and Fatal is going to miss out on a couple more CS once again.
53 to 27, Bacon. This is not looking good for this Vox. Unfortunately, Dallas is even a little bit behind in the jungle as well, despite having a faster clear speed. And those chakrams are chunking Fatal out so quickly. PvP Trinity does need to go and shop, though, so he can get that divergent path online, and that's going to turn Idris into an entirely different hero at this point.
Yeah, and he has more than enough gold to get that divergent path, so obviously just wants to get this wave pushed in, doesn't want to miss out on too much CS when he goes to shop, may even just duck down to the jungle shop instead of doing a full recall. Meanwhile, Kaz actually steals away the tree and prevents himself from getting rooted in the enemy jungle. It is the full recall from Trinity. Now Shaded Talent, is he going to be in trouble? 3-on-2. We've seen this before, and it has the same ending. Shaded Talent and Kaz both getting out alive.
Yeah, that is, they've made some pretty amazing escapes this game. Shaded Talent, obviously making it back from the enemy's jungle was huge, and now PvP Trinity level 6 Shiver Strike is available. Kaz not quite connecting with the Afterburn there the way he would have hoped. Shatterglass is online for Trinity, and the Tension Bow first item from Kaz. Oh my goodness! Those chakrams half health Fatal in no time at all. Dallas really needs to get to level 8, get the increased range. So it's definitely going to be all about Dallas here on this Celeste. Fatal is just so far behind on Vox right now. It's going to be very difficult for him to make a comeback.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult as a Vox when you fall behind a CP Idris, because CP Idris just gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on. Obviously, so does the Vox, but you're always playing off the back foot. You know, you're always at risk of just one chakram can just chunk you down so heavily. And now that Trinity is able to stay at range, he's not going to be able to be poked and harassed anywhere near as easily as he could before. So it's going to be all about positioning and just making sure that you can skirt around the edges of these fights like they're doing right now. Good job getting
some
comes
Kaz, though.
Here comes the Afterburn. Lands onto the Celeste. They're trying to get involved, trying to get in onto Fatal. Throws out the wait for it, but he is going down so low now. There's the ultimate from Trinity. That does a ton of damage. The Fountain heals him up. And then the Solar Storm does not connect either. Dallas and Plot going to be just making sure they can clear out these minions to try and prevent this turret from taking too much damage.
Yeah, Chakrams get some good chip damage there, and actually Dallas has been really accurate with the Heliogenesis, and that's really been what's giving them a little bit of saving grace. Eve of Harvest is complete, but, we're still ways away from the Broken Myth. The additional range is now available, so that is huge for them. And, unfortunately Fatal did drop in that fight, but, again, he hasn't really been able to prioritize a lot of offense or defense because he's just so far behind at this point. But if Dallas can hold out late enough in the game, Celeste can easily carry them through here.
And that's going to be what they really need, is just hold on until the late game, get yourself built up, and try and find the damage onto this Idris. It's going to be the focus. Obviously, Idris generally doesn't build a whole lot of defense, and so that's going to be really their only opportunities. Once they get a little bit of damage built up and can survive these engagements, if they can find the damage on PvP Trinity, that's how Nova can turn this one around. But the first turret is going to get destroyed. Fatal coming in, gets Afterburned into the wall. Big Fountain comes through to heal everyone up, but Kaz is actually extremely low. The Solar Storm doesn't quite connect, and that's going to be rough for the side of Nova. That's going to be a nice force accord, though, pulling Trinity in, and they will get the kill. Can they find any pressure onto this turret is the question. Shaded is very low, so he's not really going to be able to do a ton to try and defend this, and I think Nova is just going to take this turret down.
They definitely have a lot of damage, but Kaz is here, Bacon. The Afterburn comes through. That is not going to be a turret, but it might be a glaive kill in their hands here in just a second. The flask is used. Afterburn is on sizable cooldown as he did not overdrive it, and that's going to be a dead glaive.
Yeah, so trading his life to save the turret. I always talk about how getting a kill in exchange for, or getting a turret in exchange for your life is always worth it. Giving up your life to save the tier 1 turret, not 100% sure on that one. Obviously, it's going to be something that's going to delay the members of Nova from getting that golden fusion, but they should still be able to just push in and take that turret shortly. For now, it's absolutely worthwhile. And because they didn't push anything off of it, it actually does become worth it. But would have really liked to see Nova get that kill and then just immediately turn around and start pushing onto that turret again and just get themselves a kill and a turret for their troubles. Instead, they only get the kill. So that's definitely ends up being a worthwhile play by Kaz.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We obviously know that the damage from Celeste would have been able to chunk down that turret. I almost think you just give up the kill on Kaz at that point. Take the turret, get that boost of gold from yourself. And now Fatal is... Holy crap, he got blown up.
Yeah, absolutely destroyed. The massive damage coming through. That's that tension bow along with a CP Idris. Just blowing through health bars. That's one of the combos that they can make. If they land it, it just destroys whoever they're targeting. And now Dallas going to be focused here. They block the core collapse, looking for another kill. PvP Trinity on the backside. The Solar Storm almost taking down Kaz, but PvP Trinity is able to get that kill instead. And now Fatal, he's going to be eating a lot of damage as well. With the infusion on this Idris, he's able to do so much work. The ultimate for the kill gets pulled underneath the turret. But the turret shot is not going to be enough to take him down, and they can just continue to put pressure on here. PvP Trinity needs to be careful with the respawns coming through, but so much work has been done onto this turret already.
Yeah, it has it. Now Dallas is coming in. Will he be able to find anything? They find a plot, though, and Trinity might even make it out of here.
And Trinity is going to make it out of there. Dallas not quite having enough damage to get that kill, even though Trinity was so low. It just ends up going the way of Vision Gaming. And they are looking really strong through this game number 2 now. They looked great in game 1. Game 2's been a lot closer thus far, but still things starting to go the way of Vision Gaming pretty consistently.
Yeah, they are. Dallas does have the Broken Myth online. He has it online for a little bit now, but they haven't really been able to find an effective team fight where they were all grouped up together. PvP Trinity is level 11 on Idris, and Fatal is sitting here at level 9, so definitely can see the advantage in the lane coming through, and now Vision is looking to push in and find the last little bit of health on this turret.
And that's definitely going to be a turret destroyed. Now they're looking for this fight. They've got the damage on the plot. Plot goes down as well. Dallas, last man standing, gonna get stunned into the wall by Shaded Talent. He's still got a ton of health. The Impale doesn't connect. Afterburn. Oh, there's going to be the reflex block used, and Kaz doing a great job of being patient, waiting for the reflex block to time out, and then landing the attack. They came very close to finding a kill there, did Dallas, but unfortunately not going to be enough, and the ace will heal up the members of Vision Gaming, and they can continue this siege. That's exactly what they're going to be doing, looking for more. They dive on in underneath the turret. Fatal going to be the target. They do trade 1-for-1, finally getting the kill onto Trinity, but the turret has been lost, and Vision Gaming firmly in the driver's seat now.
Yeah, absolutely. Trading 1 kill for a kill plus turret, always going to be worth, in my opinion. That is a 10-5 lead, 5,000 gold, 5,500 gold advantage for Vision. And Dallas just a second shy there of finding some of his farm. Has caught up to Kaz, but this lead for PvP Trinity is what's making it absolutely so difficult for Nova to have any kind of contest here. It's 150 to just approaching 100 right now for Fatal. You know, this is a 4-item offense build versus a 2 trying and struggling to get to a 3rd offensive item. Vision really only needs to find 1 fight here as we approach the 15-minute mark, can find a Kraken, and then can just close out a game off the back of a good Kraken push.
Yeah, that's what Vision Gaming's likely going to be looking for. If they can close out the series 2-0, they will be very happy with their performance. Obviously, being able to stay in the winner's bracket makes your run to the finals that much easier. And every team wants to avoid the elimination bracket. There's so much more pressure put on your shoulders once you drop down to the elimination bracket and know that you're just one series away from being eliminated from the challengers. And that's what Vision is looking to do to Nova challengers at this moment. Kraken 20 seconds, less than 20 seconds away from spawning PvP Trinity. The massive damage, huge impale blocked, but that's going to be the afterburn, able to solidify this kill right before the 15-minute mark. A minion candy on the Crystal Sentry to try and keep members of Vision Gaming at bay, but they're not even interested in going back for the Kraken. They want to push in. They've got the 2 remaining members of Nova Challengers stuck outside their base with a couple of minions walking in, and this is going to allow Trinity and Kaz to put in so much work on these turrets. What a beautiful rotation from Vision Gaming. The turrets are down, and they're just going to look to end this game. Excellent play by Vision, knowing how strong they were and what they could make happen on the fold. They will take this series 2-0.
2-0 is really, really well played from Shaded Talent there to prevent Dallas and Plot from being able to make it back to the safety of their turrets, try to find some damage on Trinity and Kaz. But it is going to be a 15-minute no Kraken win for Vision, and Nova will still have a second lifeline. They will drop down into the losers bracket, and hopefully they can find some more victories there. Obviously, the Nova organization, going to be able to help them out. We talked about it earlier, able to scrim the sister team, who is a Vainglory 8 team that made it very far in the championship, is a benefit that they need to use to their advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really would like. Oh, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is what we expect when we start to talk about these closer seeded teams. The competition gets so close. It's really hard, to feel bad about this loss. I mean, Nova did not play to, I think, the best potential they could have today. And there are some changes that they will be. They are already in the process of making roster changes, just weren't able to make them in time for this matchup. And Vision Gaming looked great, though. I mean, it's not surprising. PvP, Shaded Talent, and Kaz have been playing together for a long time. These guys have a lot of synergy, and they've been able to perform at a high level for a while in Challengers. These guys have a lot of strong reputation down here, and they're looking to try to put something together to finally make a run at a Vainglory 8 team, and this could be the season that they do it.
Yeah, I mean, their decision-making, I think, was what stood out to me the most. Especially that last play there, just recognizing that they got one kill, they had the positional advantage on the remaining 2 opponents. They could use the Lance to just keep them from getting into the base and buy enough time for the 2 carries to just charge on in and destroy those turrets. Absolutely beautiful play, and the shot calling to make a play like that. You have to be so confident in your ability and know the game so well to understand the situation you're in, be able to read it on the fly like that and make that kind of call. Really good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are concluding tonight the first day of the autumn season. It is wrapped up, and we are, of course, absolutely thrilled to be able to bring you guys an awesome production. It's been a lot of fun here, and we've been able to see some pretty good games this last. I mean, all of them been pretty one-sided, all 2-0s across the board. We did have some 3-0s, most notably, 2-1s, which 3-game series. We did have specifically Infinity Rebirth against Team Ferox. That went to 3 games, and that's a pretty good team. So let's actually take a quick look, guys, at the bracket here in Group A real quickly. It is getting updated. We still have a few more results that we're actually publishing right now as we speak. But Echo Fox did beat Infinity Rebirth. They are moving on. Of course, you just watched Nova Gaming. They picked up their Vision picked up their match against Nova Gaming. So they will be moving on to the next round as well. And actually checking, yeah, it looks like NRG and the Kardashians, they both won their games. And actually, this is our first major upset. I wouldn't call the Vision Gaming an upset, but the Kardashians are a 12 seed. They have knocked out a 5 seed and are now making it to the final round of the winner's bracket. And that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely is there, Dragon. We usually don't see too many upsets on day one. It's So for a 12-5 are pretty close, but for a couple seasons now, the competition has been getting so close that those are almost pretty similar seedings, honestly.
They really are. So, that one was not too much, but yeah, to see the Kardashians come in here, that is the biggest upset so far of the night that we could see, and I'm really curious to see how this team works out. We'll probably get a chance then to stream them next week, so you guys are definitely going to want to tune in for that to see what it's all about. The Kardashians. Definitely want to keep up with that. Anyways, that does conclude our stream for tonight. Thanks everybody for coming out and watching. If you love what you see, please follow us here on Twitch, on YouTube, on Mob Crush, and make sure you follow us on Twitter. We greatly appreciate it. We'll see you guys all, and hopefully, guys, I know this is on me, but hopefully I can get the things sorted out with who the winner is. Waiting for the contact to be made so I can confirm, that's a real account, and then we'll be able to announce that for you guys. So hopefully by tomorrow, the winner of the 30,000 ice will be announced. You do have 24 hours to claim it, so that is just a small technicality there. With that, guys, see you guys later. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow. We do have Group B starting first thing tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, so the action continues here live on the VIS League. See you then.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download